It's Wednesday, May 27th. Today, a landmark development. How many jobs could be generated and what's in store for a massive new project in the burgeoning Centerport Industrial Park. Also, senior food security program in limbo. Why the future of a food and support program for vulnerable seniors is now in question, and what it means for hundreds of folks who rely on the surface. Plus, Maker's Mark, the story behind 50-year-old artwork and why the artist behind the work is still captivating people today. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. Happy Wednesday to you. Thank you so much for being with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. Now, Ainsley McPhail spending the morning at the YMCA talking about the important programs that are available there for kids who maybe can't afford to have certain activities like swimming and just being around other youth. So we're going to find out a little bit more about that program and how you could support it. But right now, all I want to do is spend some time outside. I needed to water my flowers. They were dry. They were droopy.
Yeah, because that kind of heat, we all felt a little bit droopy unless we were hydrating. Even on my walk home, by the time I got there, I too was a little bit droopy. My goodness, it's going to be another warm one today. Hot is the word for it. But if I use hot today, then what do I use for tomorrow? Because tomorrow is going to be intense. 15 degrees is where we begin. That is well above seasonal. 8 would be a normal low, and we're already in the mid-teens. We've got a 19K wind out of the east-northeast. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 53%. There's just a few clouds out there. But what we are seeing is this band of precipitation. I don't think Winnipeg is going to be seeing much of this. In fact, I don't think much more than this very southwestern corner of the province is going to see a lot of that. It's not like it's moving much. It's really just kind of stalled, and if anything, will likely stay for the most part south of the international border. And also, I mean, when it's this dry, lightning bolts are not exactly what we need, but precipitation we will take in any form. So that's all that we're seeing. Otherwise, very clear. And on the futurecast, that's only showing up as a couple of clouds down there. Across the most northern part, but really it's north of the border, that's where the next little even glimmer of precipitation is moving. Otherwise, very clear conditions all across the province and staying that way still for a stretch of days. And I mentioned if I used hot to describe today, what do I use to describe tomorrow? Because while today is pushing up above seasonal to a high of 29 degrees, for the next stretch of days, we're pushing then into the mid-30s. Nothing but sunshine. No signs of precipitation, as I mentioned. So sunshine through the day, clear conditions overnight. Our overnight lows are above seasonal daytime highs. Well, no, not quite. 22 degrees is normal for this time of year. Certainly they're close to that, and that stretch continues well into the start of next week.
Thank you, Terry. It's being touted as the largest industrial development in Winnipeg's history. A developer has filed an application with the city for a 700-acre industrial park in Centerport. The project, known as Catalyst Park, is expected to bring thousands of jobs to the area. CTV's Jeff Keel reports.
It doesn't look like much now, but this dirt field in northwest Winnipeg could one day be home to a number of new companies.
This is major for Winnipeg. This is going to push an economic agenda for the city and for the province.
Jessamine Family Investments filed an application with the city to build a 700-acre industrial park on this land at Centerport. The mayor says the project, known as Catalyst Park, will be the largest industrial development in the city's history.
It'll be a significant industrial development, and it'll be transformative for Winnipeg's economy.
With the proximity to the airport N17 wing, the development is expected to attract the aerospace and defense sectors.
The Centerport South lands are adjacent to the Winnipeg Airport, which really helps to develop and grow and continue to create high-wage, high-paying, good value jobs for Winnipeggers, all related to the sky economy.
Other manufacturing and distribution centers are also anticipated, as well as office buildings and research centers, plus education facilities, even restaurants, to complement the influx of new workers, which could number in the thousands.
I think it'd be fair to say it might look like a bit of a campus as well.
The move comes after the city and province paid to run sewer and water services to Winnipeg's portion of Centerport in 2022, paving the way for new businesses to come here or existing ones to expand.
There hasn't been that land base in the city of Winnipeg to allow those kind of investments to happen and that kind of growth to happen. So this is going to be much needed inventory.
The mayor is voicing his support for Catalyst Park. He notes there are strict drainage rules for developments near the airport, so retention ponds don't attract migrant birds near flight paths.
All the rules related to the airport vicinity plan would have to be complied with, but the Winnipeg Airport Authority right now is one of the most eager developers of their lands.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Even though there are no plans before any councillors at City Hall yet, the mayor has already written a letter to the local community committee, which would hear the application in the future. It's unclear at this time when the approval process could begin. Nearly 3/4 of Manitobans are ready to stop changing the clocks twice a year. That's according to a new survey by Prairie Research Associates. A little more than a third of those polled would prefer to stay on daylight saving time, citing the value of more daylight in the evenings for after work or school activities. 18% would rather stick to standard time, and 21% said they'd be happy with any permanent time change. Just 14% said they'd rather continue switching between the two, while slightly fewer said they had no preference. The survey of 1,060 Manitobans took place between May 21st and 25th. It cannot be assigned a margin of error as the sample was made up of panel members. However, a random survey of the same size would have a margin of error plus or minus 3 percentage points. The province is conducting its own survey right now to gauge how people feel about the future of the time change in Manitoba. You can give your thoughts by visiting engagemb.ca. Premier Wab Kinew had some direct words Tuesday for Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. He's urging her to consider pausing referendum talk and consult with the province's First Nations.
It is not up to the petition gatherers to fulfill the duty to consult. It is up to you as the Alberta government to fulfill the duty to consult.
Kinew, who is speaking directly to Smith at the annual meeting of Western and Northern premiers, says with all provinces signing and building mega projects, including an Alberta pipeline to the west coast, this isn't the time for such uncertainty. The premier also says existing treaty rights of Indigenous peoples living in Alberta are not being considered.
In this case, when there's clearly going to be an impact on well-established existing hunting and fishing rights by putting up an international border, if some would have their way, the judge ruled, and I would agree with the judge's ruling, that that is going to infringe on rights.
The premier also suggested holding off referendum talks until pipelines and projects can begin construction. Premier Smith didn't respond to Kinew and was not asked by reporters to respond. The conference wrapped up yesterday. Former Environment and Climate Change Minister Stephen Guilbeault is expected to announce his resignation as Liberal MP today.
Prime Minister, Mr. Guilbeault, has he told you about his future, sir?
I'm a good friend of Stephen. I've worked a lot to bring him in politics, and he will always be a good friend.
Guilbeault's resignation is believed to be over his climate policy concerns. He quit Carney's cabinet last year after Ottawa's energy deal with Alberta was made public, which included certain rollbacks on climate policies and the promise to work toward a bitumen pipeline. This could affect the Liberals' thin majority, with 2 other shifts eventually triggering 3 by-elections. Plus, more than a dozen Liberal MPs wrote to the Prime Minister in April expressing worry over changes to methane and clean electricity regulations in Alberta. Fortunately, no one was hurt when a double-decker bus rolled into the side of a grocery store in Ottawa.
The bus was being towed by an OC Transpo towing, and there was something that happened with the disconnection of the vehicle.
A decommissioned OC Transpo bus was being towed to a maintenance facility when it came loose. The bus then hit the side of a Farm Boy store. OC Transpo's garage sits a few hundred meters away. The incident is now under investigation. Some much-needed help is on the way for communities battling wildfires this season.
At least 10 additional wildfire fighting aircraft that will support our provinces and our territories in their response, and that will be available beginning this wildfire season.
The 10 aircraft include air tankers and helicopters. They will be stationed across the country based on expected need. The government says it chose to lease the aircraft instead of buying so they could be used immediately. Unseasonably warm weather continues to grip parts of Western Europe. London hit a record 35 degrees today. It also recorded a rare tropical night, meaning the temperature stayed above 20 degrees overnight. Records also fell in France at 36 degrees, and in southern Spain, Seville hit 38 degrees over the weekend. The area could see 40-degree weather later this week. Visitors to Birds Hill Provincial Park hoping to cool off this week will have to wait a little longer. Manitoba Park says the pump used to fill the lake needs to be repaired. That fix will be done this week, but then it takes about 2 weeks to fill the lake. Beachgoers can expect regular water levels by mid-June, according to staff. It's not quite Canada's game, but some people do take shuffleboard seriously.
To me, shuffle is similar to curling. I mean, not there, but you have to have your weight, you have to have strategy.
It's Canada versus the U.S. at the first ever Can-Am Shuffleboard Court Tournament in Alberta. Team Canada is represented by players from Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario, and BC. This is a friendly rivalry with bragging rights on the line. The finals are on Friday. Here's what's happening outside now on McPhillips Street. It's a good start to your Wednesday morning drive. It looks like a beautiful drive indeed. Look at that beautiful sky as well. If you see any issues out on the street, please send us a text at 10400. Let's go out to the rooftop now. It's a beautiful sunny start to the day, but I see it's a little bit breezy too.
Yeah, my Beyonce moment here in the wind machine. It is a little bit breezy. That breeze at the moment is a little bit gusty, and I'm kind of like directly in the path of it. It's a southeast wind, right? Or, pardon, no, it's not. It's an east-northeast wind right now. And so as a result, yeah, I'm finding myself getting a little blown back this morning. Not that I'm mad about it. It's not like it's a cold start to the day, but it is 15 degrees, which is well above seasonal, 8 degrees a normal low, and that wind could get a little bit stronger throughout the day today. So yeah, today will be a little bit breezier, not an intense wind by any means, but perhaps a little bit stronger of a breeze than what we endured through yesterday. The pressure is rising, the humidity is sitting at 55%. The sun is up, it's shining bright, looking gorgeous out here this morning. As far as sunshine goes, we'll be seeing plenty of that once again, pretty much across the province, although we were just looking at the satellite image and seeing a little band of activity with thunderstorms clipping the southwestern part of the province, the bulk of the activity staying south of the border. But there is the possibility that right along that very southern border, you see a little bit of activity with some showers or possible thunderstorms. Aside from that, there's nothing showing up throughout the province. Nothing but clear, dry conditions and a whole lot of heat. High 20s is where we're headed today, but it will get hotter in the days ahead. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
Good morning. 2 more 7-Eleven stores have closed up shop in Winnipeg. Signs have gone up at the Notre Dame and Arlington store, as well as the Keewatin Street near Logan Avenue location, saying the stores are permanently closed as of yesterday. They add to a growing list of locations which have shut down operations in recent months. Past closures in the city have been blamed on losses brought on by crime, and last month the chain announced it expects to close hundreds of North American locations this year. Mayor Scott Gillingham previously said 7-Eleven would be opening several new locations in the city, and he says as far as he's aware, that's still the plan.
7-Eleven, if you take a look at what's happening across North America, they've closed hundreds of stores across North America. So this is not just a Winnipeg thing. There have been 7-Eleven store closures across North America. As my understanding is that they're going to a different model.
CTV News has reached out to 7-Eleven for comment. We're still waiting to hear back. The future of a food security program hundreds of older Manitobans rely on is in doubt. During the pandemic, Age and Opportunity set up a food hamper program. It arranges for the hampers to be directly delivered to the seniors who need them. However, by the end of the summer, the program will end. CTV's John Hendricks reports on what may happen next.
I make sure I get my food.
Victoria Como has always been a strong, independent person, but the 85-year-old's mobility and eyesight hasn't been the same since she was viciously attacked in February of 2025 while walking to the store to buy some milk.
That guy that ran up behind me, I didn't even hear him. He just smacked me in the back of the head and knocked me down.
She still hasn't fully recovered, making it a lot more difficult to get around to places like the grocery store. Luckily, the pensioner has help filling her cupboards. Como is one of nearly 500 older adults getting a food hamper delivered every month from Harvest, Manitoba through Age and Opportunity's food security program. It's there to help people recently discharged from hospital or dealing with lack of access to a vehicle, health, or other barriers.
We often refer to it as a basket of services that people need. It's not ever usually just one thing. There's usually multiple things going on.
But the future of the program is in doubt. Agent Opportunity says the province, which has funded the program for the past 2 years, recently told them they were moving on.
We're hoping that this isn't sort of a systemic issue of ageism where older adults aren't being considered within policy.
To ensure clients aren't left in a lurch, Agent Opportunity has sent them this letter, explaining that due to funding reductions, no further hampers will be scheduled for delivery after August 31st.
A program like this is the world there, not only just for the food that comes once a month, but for that little bit of social aspect of having that visit.
Joseph Foray says he'll figure out how to replace the food that may no longer be coming. But he says this was a program that was well worth the investment, and he wants it to continue or be replaced with something similar. John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
In a statement to CTV News, Health and Seniors Minister Uzama Azaguera writes in part, we're moving to a direct partnership with Heart to Home, the organization that has actually been delivering these hampers to seniors. We believe working directly with frontline organizations helps us strengthen services, maximize investments, and make sure more support reaches Manitobans who need it most. We are already actively working with Heart to Home to ensure there is a smooth transition with no interruption in service for current clients. Some dramatic video now of a dog being rescued from a burning home in Nova Scotia.
Made himself aware to us, actually. He poked a hole in the wall on the 3rd floor and stuck his head out.
It happened Monday. This service dog was trapped on the top floor of this home in North Sydney. Crews considered casting a net for the animal to jump into, but the dog was ultimately brought down the stairs by a firefighter inside. The fire chief says a woman who was home at the time got out safely, but unfortunately a cat died. A firefighter was also injured at the scene. The fire marshal's office is investigating. Police in Hamilton have released surveillance video connected to a spree of smash and grab robberies involving luxury perfumes. Investigators say suspects used hammers to smash display cases inside Shoppers Drug Mart stores before fleeing with expensive fragrances and colognes. Police believe it's linked to at least 12 other robberies targeting high-end perfumes in the city. The total reported losses exceed $21,000. 4 people are now facing multiple charges. A heavy police presence descended on the city's Sargent Park neighborhood Tuesday. Police cruisers could be seen blocking off a stretch of Garfield Street North near the intersection of Sargent Avenue. Further up the street, several officers and the armored rescue vehicle were spotted on the yard of a home. A police spokesperson says they were there to execute a search warrant and there was no threat to public safety. Here's an unusual traffic jam in this city in Mississippi. An alligator slowed things down big time when it ended up in an intersection. They cleared the road by using an SUV to slowly pull it away, something it wasn't so happy about. But luckily for now, the streets are gator-free again. Ooh, he looks mad. We have some road closures to remind you about this morning. Following the rush, the north and southbound curb lanes on Main Street Bridge will be closed for landscaping maintenance. The southbound curb lane on Main will be closed from Portage to Pioneer, and the eastbound curb and middle lanes on Portage will be closed between Broadway and Barrowman. If you have any other traffic tips, please send us a text.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
Looking outside now through the CTV Live Eye, brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. Not a whole lot to see out there this morning. It's on the clearer side. There's just been a little bit of activity on the satellite image. I'll show you that in just a second. The southwestern corner has been seeing a little bit of early morning drama, but for the rest of us, it's a pretty uneventful start to the day. If you're not counting, of course, these well above seasonal temperatures, because 8 degrees would be a normal low, and most of us are already at least in the double digits, as is the case in the Borden-Winkler area, or for some of us, mid-teens. It's 15 degrees already here in Winnipeg. A lot of double digits showing up through southern Manitoba. The exception to that is Dauphin coming in at 9 degrees, and some mid to high single digits through parts of northern Manitoba. And then there's Churchill, just a little bit below freezing, -1 for you to begin the day. This is that bit of drama that I was talking about showing up in the satellite image right now. Very southwestern corner, just getting clipped with this band of thunderstorms that is passing further south of us, and I think the bulk of the activity will remain further south of us, but just along this very southern border you might see scattered showers, or perhaps some of that thunderstorm activity. Otherwise, clear across the province and really not much to see over the next few days, but a lot to feel as far as the heat goes. 19 degrees expected as kids get into school, 25 through the lunch hour, and 28 by the time they're coming home, with 29 our expected high temperature for today. And then the heat gets turned up even more so, pushing up into those mid-30s where we'll stay for the rest of the weekend. All throughout the weekend, those low 30 temperatures as well. Even into the start of next week, we'll still be feeling the heat. This made me smile so much. A little chuckle at my desk. This little owl peeking at you from out behind the tree. Thanks to Chantel for sharing. Keep them coming to Winnipeg weather at CTV.ca. We're taking a break, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Good morning. For all of those of you who play team sports, check out this contest. We're giving away 25 $100 Chicken Chef gift cards with draws every week from May 25th to July the 17th. Tell us your most memorable fun team moments. Attach a picture and you will be entered the draw. Plus, your picture and story could be featured on our show. Your team memory could be about a great play, exciting wins or losses, or just fun antics. All those things that make memorable moments and show your team spirit. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvwinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form with your answer and your picture. Good luck.
Your Manitoba sports team moment brought to you by Chicken Chef, where memories are made.
For every household name in the art world, there are thousands of skilled artists which go relatively undiscovered for years. But the paintings and sketches still hold value to those who knew the makers best. CTV's Daniel Homerson has more on one Manitoba artist more than 50 years after he put pen to paper.
He liked to do pen and ink. He did a little bit of oils, but not a whole lot.
Dave Rundle owns just a few of his brother Don Lafort's sketches, like this one of an unknown child from 1973.
Very seldom would he paint a happy face. I've got a happy face here in one of his drawings that I could find.
Rundle says his half-brother was born in 1941 near Powerview Pine Falls, was sent to Fort Alexander Residential School in his youth, and eventually ended up in Winnipeg.
He went to school at Gordon Bell High School. He played football there. One time he got his name in the papers, and that made him a hero, you know, to us.
Some of Lafort's highly detailed sketches from the 1970s pop up online, but there's little information about Lafort or his work readily available.
He was sitting there, and all you could hear was scratch, 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 scratch. Very fast scratching going on, you know. And that was on a piece of paper with his charcoal pencil.
John Mulliel met Lafort while working in downtown Winnipeg in the 70s. He says Lafort's work captured the challenges Indigenous people were facing at the time.
He portrayed that through his works, you know. I think that's what he wanted to show the world.
In 1975, Lafort gifted him one of his sketches. That was the last time Mulliel saw the artist.
He had this rolled up paper in his hand. It looked more like a newspaper rolled up. We unrolled this thing. And my wife said, "Oh my God, this is beautiful."
Mulliel's daughter recently tracked down Lafort's family and returned the 50-year-old sketch to them. And while Lafort died in 2000 at the age of 58, Dave Rundle says the rekindled interest in his brother's work is a nice reminder of the man and the artist.
I will always remember him. He will never fade.
Daniel Homerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Wake up and win with CTV Your Morning and Manitoba Blue Cross. We could pay your bills with a massive $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is riches. Head to the contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter riches with your info for your chance to win the Your Morning $20,000 Pay Your Bills contest. Brought to you by Manitoba Blue Cross, your local trusted health benefits provider. Good luck.
Looking outside, we've got plenty of sun shining over the city right now. It's a warm start to your day for sure. 15 degrees when 8 would be a normal low. We do have a bit of a breeze this morning, though. Out of the east-northeast, it's gusting to 28 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 55%. Yeah, plenty of sunshine for most of us. We are seeing a little bit of activity just in the very southwestern corner of the province. There you can see a few showers, some thunderstorms that were firing off early this morning. Bulk of that activity will stay south of the international border, and most of us throughout the province are just going to be seeing that sun shining today. And the heat that comes along with it, yes, we'll be feeling that for sure, with these above seasonal temperatures continuing and expecting that it will keep heating up throughout this week. Even today, though, well above normal. So seasonal daytime highs would be about 22 degrees, and instead 29 is where we're headed this afternoon. We got up to 28 yesterday. Today could be a degree warmer than that. A bit of a breeze that we'll deal with, though, out of the east at about 30 kilometers per hour. So some moving air with this kind of heat, thankful for that. What you don't want is that stagnant air on top of these incredibly hot temperatures. Overnight only dropping down to 15 degrees. Very clear conditions continuing overnight. Tomorrow, wow, 35 degrees. And these are the kind of temperatures that we're going to experience throughout the rest of the week. There will be a little bit of a south breeze tomorrow, but there you can see into the weekend and even into next week, this heat wave continues.
2 people are in hospital, one with life-threatening injuries after they were shot while riding an all-terrain vehicle on a northern First Nation. A 21-year-old man and 17-year-old boy were brought to the nursing station in Matthias-Kalom Cree Nation, also known as Puckatawagan, shortly after midnight. They both had to be flown to Winnipeg for further treatment. RCMP have identified a suspect, and an emergency response team is searching for them. A shelter-in-place alert was issued, but police say the First Nation lifted the order. Matthias-Kalom is a fly-in community which is also served by rail, located more than 800 kilometers northwest of Winnipeg. Residents of a small Manitoba town are raising the alarm over rising crime rates. This after troubling statistics show crime in rural areas of the province are the second highest in all of Canada. CTV's Harrison Shin spoke with residents of Ashern about what they want done.
A small community 2 hours northwest of Winnipeg, here in Ashern, crime is on people's minds.
There's been lots of vandalism in the last month or so, for sure. Lots of businesses have been broken into.
To the level, residents created a new Facebook group just to voice concerns.
We get posts in the group saying that either their shed's been kicked in, bikes have been stolen, businesses are being robbed, people are calling the police.
On Tuesday, Statistics Canada released a study about the crime severity index. In the latest data from 2024, Manitoba has the second highest for rural areas. That index weighs crimes in terms of severity. Manitoba came in at 180, down 4 points from 2023. Saskatchewan topped the list at 219.
Not surprising, which is very sad because your community should be safe. We're a small town. Everybody kind of knows everybody. You look out for your neighbors, and that's not happening right now.
Residents like cops say they don't have enough police officers in the area. Manitoba Justice Minister Matt Wiebe says more needs to be done for rural communities.
We know that there's a lot of issues that are driving crime, and we want to be tough on the root causes as well. So our whole government is working towards making your community safer, and we're going to make sure that the resources are there in place to make sure you and your family are safe.
For COP, she'd like to see more officers in town.
We have businesses that are being robbed daily, small businesses, small town owners. If the police and the government aren't doing anything to protect them, our small businesses are going to close.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Ashern, Manitoba.
As an Ebola outbreak grows, new travel measures are now being put in place to prevent cases from spreading to Canada.
We have many people coming for the FIFA games. Luckily, at this point in time, none of these countries affected our playing in Canada.
Officials say about 350 people enter Canada from Congo, Uganda, and South Sudan each week. As of midnight tonight, immigration applications from the region will also be suspended. And starting Saturday, people traveling from those areas will face additional screening. Those who show symptoms will be sent to hospital for assessment. Others will have to self-isolate for 21 days. The number of cases continues to rise in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Uganda, and South Sudan. There is no vaccine for this strain of Ebola. There has been another arrest in connection to the W5 investigation into alleged sexual assault ring where intimate partners are secretly drugged and assaulted. Hamilton police allege Gilles Richard arranged sexual encounters with adult victims, drugged them without their knowledge, and sexually assaulted them while they were incapacitated. They say this arrest is connected to an investigation into another man, Brian Hayward. He's facing dozens of charges, accused of being involved in a network of men who secretly drugged and filmed their intimate partners and shared those videos online. At least one other suspect in Switzerland was arrested last year following the W5 investigation. NASA has revealed their roadmap for a major base on the moon. Check out this futuristic vision with 3 phases starting this year. Eventually, drones and lunar rovers will be used to scout the best landing sites near the South Pole. In 2029, assembling the moon base begins, including nuclear and solar-powered systems. By 2032, astronauts begin living and working on the moon.
Artemis astronauts will stay longer, explore farther, and conduct the kinds of science that advances exploration itself.
It comes 6 weeks after the Artemis II mission that sent astronauts around the moon for the first time in 50 years. NASA hopes to land Artemis IV astronauts on the moon in 2028. Peru celebrated one of its national treasures this week. Monday was National Clown Day in Peru. Hundreds of clowns showed up to fill downtown Lima with music, laughter, and oversized shoes. Clown Day in Peru honors a performer who visited struggling neighborhoods in Lima in the 80s to bring some joy to those communities. Here's a look at what's happening on Portage Avenue. Looks like things are moving really well over here. No issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. If you do encounter any problems, though, let us know, please. And here's a look at your gas prices. In Winnipeg, the average is 169.8, which is down from yesterday. And the lowest price in the city is $1.50, found at 204 Fuels on Salter Street. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
Ainsley McPhail is live at the YMCA of Winnipeg. We're going to find out more about Strong Kids. Stay with us.
Weather is brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
Slight breeze to kick off our morning today. Not that it's a bad thing, because where these temperatures are headed, we'll be glad to have some of that air moving around a little bit. It's not an intense wind. I just happen to have no shelter in the direction that it's coming from. 15 degrees is where we begin today with that wind out of the east-northeast, gusting to 28 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 55%. Sunshine, most of us, that's what we're waking up to. There's been a little bit of activity in the very southwestern corner of the province with some showers and thunderstorms showing up on our satellite image. And it's all connected to this band that is primarily moving south of the international border. So throughout much of the northern states, we're seeing some precipitation, showers, thunderstorms, that sort of thing passing through. And the very southern border of Manitoba could see a bit of that activity just get clipped. But, I mean, we would welcome some precipitation because this is going to be a hot week. For the most part, a sunny week, hot and dry. Checking in with Ainsley McPhail now to see where she is and what's going on. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Terry. It is Strong Kids Month. We're live from the YMCA. Ken Talbot's joining me, and a $75,000 donation was made by him and his wife, matching donations so that kids can get memberships to the YMCA. Tell us about this initiative.
Well, what we wanted to do was make sure that we get kids busy and active and involved in things that are good in the city. Get kids out and doing exercise and belonging to a great part of the community, and you know, just being kids.
And why is the YMCA ideal for that?
Well, first of all, location. You know, there's a lot of kids that are in this end of the city that really need somewhere to be, need somewhere safe to go. Well, what a great environment here. And secondly, you know, they've been around so long, they understand kids, they understand needs, and they really, really get it. And we wanted to make sure that we were able to help out and do something really great downtown. So the why it is.
No doubt. And you guys are matching donations as well. Why are you calling out to Manitobans to take part as well?
Well, how many of us have said, you know what, those kids need to have something to do. They need to get off the street. They need to get out, stop hanging out at 7-Eleven. Well, how about you guys, Winnipeg, Manitoba, buy some memberships for kids and families and get them down to the Y. You'll get the kids off the street. You'll get the kids into activities and being physical and being engaged. What a great place to be, and also being safe. So wouldn't it be a great thing for Manitobans to invest in our future? Because our kids are our future. So let's help out.
Well, yeah, and how many memberships? Because you wanted to climb today. We're here with Virgin Radio as well. How many memberships are we talking on today or this month? What's the goal?
The goal is unlimited. However, I mean, yeah, we laugh about it, but you know what? We don't want to stop at 1 or 100 or 1,000. We want to just keep going until all kids in Manitoba have a safe place to go, have a great place to be, have a place to belong, and what a great opportunity. So with you folks and Virgin Radio and Winnipeggers and Manitobans who are always so generous, let's get involved and let's keep these kids off the streets and keep them safe and active.
Okay, to the break. Thank you.
Here's a look at the early markets. The Dow Jones is 218 points higher. The Nasdaq added 161 points. The S&P index had small gains. The loonie slightly decreased, set to 72.35 cents U.S. Overseas, the Hang Seng lost 271 points, and the Nikkei had no significant changes. Good morning. It is 6:46. A new map is highlighting the effects the city's encampment enforcement policy is having on the homeless.
All of the restrictions are in place, and they're added to matters like private property, roadways, parking lot, and the like. We really see that there's nowhere in the city of Winnipeg where it's okay to camp.
The community organizations involved in the mapping tool's creation say the restrictions, which went into effect in November, are breaking up chosen communities where homeless people feel safe and has created a sense of fear. They say some people have also been lost in the shuffle of trying to navigate the system and being forced to bounce between encampments. But Winnipeg's mayor is standing by the policy, calling it a balanced approach, and says there are no plans to revisit.
We've got too many people that are struggling with addiction. We have too much open drug use. We have too much crime going on, and so this is not the time to be, going in different directions. This is the time to be uniting to combat the challenges on our streets.
The community groups are concerned what will happen as enforcement ramps up with the warmer weather. The mapping tool is available through Resource Assistance for Youth's website. A Manitoba man missing since Christmas Eve has been found dead. RCMP say the body of 37-year-old Blair Coles was found Saturday on Brady Road north of the perimeter. Mounties say criminality isn't suspected, but the cause of death remains under investigation pending autopsy results. Coles was last seen leaving an address on Manitoba Avenue in Selkirk on the morning of December 24th, 2025. Manitoba Métis Federation President David Chartrand will be returning for another term. The nomination period closed Monday afternoon, and Chartrand is the only person who put forward their name for president in the upcoming election. This is Chartrand's 9th term as president, a role he's held since 1997. There are 22 positions open in the election. 6 others have also been acclaimed by incumbents. MMF members head to the polls on June 23rd. Canada is expected to sign a large-scale LNG agreement with Germany.
This announcement that the federal government will be sharing more about is about how we can work together to deepen those trading relationships around the world, in this case with Germany. And it really reflects what is possible when we work together.
Natural Resources Minister Tim Hodgson is expected to make the official announcement today in Vancouver. Early reports suggest German firm Cefa is poised to buy liquefied natural gas shipped from BC. The planned export facility is proposed by Western LNG, a consortium of Canadian natural gas producers called Rockies LNG and the Nisga'a First Nation, who own the land for the project. It will have a capacity of 12 million tons of LNG per year, making it Canada's second largest LNG export facility. Summertime is near, and with it comes a temptation to go on holiday. But according to a new survey, more than 1 in 3 Canadians are planning to spend less this season. The survey was conducted by TD Bank and found Canadians are adjusting travel budgets based on increased cost pressures. 44% of participants said higher fuel costs are influencing their travel decisions. 62% say they're redirecting spending towards everyday needs, such as groceries and fuel. Meanwhile, more than 3/4 of Canadians planning to travel will do so within Canada, with more than half planning to explore their own province. The survey was conducted from April 17th through the 27th of this year and had a sample of 1,500 adults. Dozens of drones fell out of the sky over Sydney's Darling Harbour during a popular light show. This was Monday night. The big show was slowly derailed as the lit-up drones fell because of unforeseen technical difficulties. Nearly 90 of them fell splashing into the water. A number of upcoming shows have been cancelled. We have some road closures to remind you about this morning following the rush. The north and southbound curb lanes on Main Street Bridge will be closed for landscaping maintenance. The southbound curb lane on Main will be closed from Portage to Pioneer, and the eastbound curb and middle lanes on Portage will be closed between Broadway and Burrowman. If you see anything out there, please send us a text.
15 degrees outside. Beautiful sunny start to your day. A little bit breezy. You can see the camera moving with those winds out of the east-northeast, gusting to 28 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 55%. Pretty clear for the most part. You can see most part, and then there's this one part, the very southwestern corner of the province, a band of activity that the bulk of it is below the southern border, but right through this very southern stretch, we might see some showers with thunderstorms just kind of firing off. And as this tracks a little bit further to the east, you might see that activity moving just along that very southern border. That's the only sign of precipitation throughout the entire province today. Otherwise, we're looking at plenty of sunshine and these above seasonal temperatures. Not a lot of sunshine, I should say, in Churchill. You're dealing with the fog. That's the lines icon that you've got up there right now. But 9 degrees for your high temperature puts you a little bit above seasonal, and everybody is likely to climb a little bit above what is normal for your area. So that'll put Thompson up to 22 degrees. Similar temperatures all throughout the northwestern part of the province. High teens, mid to high teens, just for an example, would be pretty normal for this time of year. So pushing up into the low 20s instead. And yes, very clear conditions right down into southern Manitoba, where the heat will be intensified somewhat. High 20s and even some low 30s. 22 degrees for that reference. That would be a seasonal daytime high, and everybody is likely to be several degrees beyond that, knowing that it gets even hotter throughout this week. So this is going to be a stretch that could be a bit of a shock for a lot of folks, because as hot as it's been, these temperatures, they're going to spike in the days ahead. So from 29 degrees today, we're headed up into the mid-30s for the rest of the week.
Thank you, Terry. Let's check in now on Bo at Bounce 99.9. Good morning, Bo. Happy Wednesday.
It is Happy Hump Day, Rochelle, and I'm by myself here today. Gabby is down at the Downtown Y, part of our Y Strong Kids Radiothon. So she's broadcasting from there. And if you want to make donations, ywinnipeg.ca/donate. And any donations up to $75,000 are being doubled, which is very cool. And yeah, the Y is a great place. This is for, you know, those families that just can't afford to bring their kids or their families to the Y. So we're helping out with that today. She's sweating in her spandex, apparently. This is what she told me. We're all going to be sweating a little bit with these weather and these temperatures that Terry's talking about. How do you like to stay cool, Rochelle?
Well, typically I love to be at the beach with a good book and an umbrella and dip in the water when I need to and then go back to my book when I don't. So yeah, I love spending time at the beach. And if I had money, I would probably build a pool in my backyard and cool off there too if I could. But it's going to be tough over the next few days to stay cool. It's going to be a hot week.
I'm not complaining. You are so lucky with all the fabulous beaches and lakes that we do have here in Manitoba. But if you, even if you can't do that, just go to the supermarket. Oh my gosh, I was in there yesterday in shorts and a t-shirt, and it's freezing in there.
It's cold.
So, listen, if you get that pool and stuff in your backyard, make sure you invite us over, okay?
Okay.
We asked that question. If money were no object, what would you put in the backyard? In-ground pools came up a lot. A nice deck or gazebo. Somebody had a great idea. They thought, why don't I put like a mini leaf, like from the Assiniboine Park, you know, with exotic butterflies?
Yes.
That would be cool.
It would be lovely. I kind of have that in my own backyard, so I'm spoiled rotten because I have butterflies and birds everywhere. So yeah, I have my own leaf. Thanks, Bo. Have a good day. A BC woman was surprised to discover a hidden message from the previous tenants of her apartment. As Adam Sawatsky finds out, she let curiosity get the better of her despite warnings it could be a curse.
Julie Valet was preparing to plant something new when she unexpectedly dug up something old.
I was so surprised, so in shock.
It was a bottle that had been buried under her garden bed that had a rolled up piece of paper inside it.
Really something so strange. I was like, this is really happening?
But before she had time to consider who put it there and why, Julie had to go meet a client who told her to definitely not open the bottle because where he came from, people think it could contain a curse.
I'm really not superstitious, but I don't know. It just shocked me for 24 hours.
The last thing Julie needed was bad luck, seeing as she was already having doubts about how her life was unfolding, so she sought solace outside.
I have the feeling that I'm in the middle of nature.
Here, on her apartment patio, where plants thrive and animals like deer and raccoons frequent.
And I even see a river otter that comes quite often that scares my cat away.
When she went back inside, Julie started researching her dilemma about the bottle online.
It's quite a mystery, and I have to get to the bottom of this.
She was advised not to be afraid and open it.
So I thought, okay, let's do it.
And discovered a handwritten message inside.
It was nothing like a curse. It was quite the opposite, actually.
It began, "May this wee piece of land bring you joy.
May the birds, deer, raccoon, and other creatures return and add to the pleasure of nature."
Whoever wrote this, Julie realized, had encountered the same animals she had.
And I thought, oh, that's probably a nice lady who was living here and enjoying being in nature.
Julie asked her neighbors and building manager who had lived in her apartment before her, but none of them knew. Not that it really mattered.
It was just magical.
Because after wondering about all the things she didn't have in her life, this reminder of all the things she did felt like a perfect gift.
I just feel even luckier than I felt before.
Which is why Julie's framed the note, and whenever she can, will accept the invitation written at the end of it. To pull up your chair in nature and grab a cup of tea and give it all a toast. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News.
I'm glad she opened it. Well, as youth sports culture gets to be more intense, this dad is pushing back.
Just want our kids to be able to go outside and have fun.
Scott Smith started backyard kickball after his 8-year-old son missed out on a little league team. The not-for-profit league is already a big success with 50 kids taking part this season. It's a low-pressure environment, perfect for young children getting used to playing sports. Here's a look outside right now at Confusion Corner. Things are slowly picking up in this part of the city, but overall moving quite well. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after this. It's Wednesday, May 27th. Today, an historic project, how a proposed development could bring thousands of jobs to the city. Plus, speaking up, what Wab Canoe had to say about Alberta's separation referendum. And continued closures. Which Winnipeg 7-Eleven stores have shut their doors? Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. Happy Wednesday. It is 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for being with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. Now, Terry, I don't know if you know this, but in 2008, I got a chance to fly with the Snowbirds. I was actually in the jet while they were in formation, and it was one of the highlights of my career.
For sure.
Like one of the coolest moments ever. And the Snowbirds, of course, are reaching the point where their jets are aging out. And we have a retired pilot who's going to talk about what that means and the impact of what that could mean for Snowbird pilots. But we'll have that a little later. But the weather is just phenomenal.
But that makes that experience all the more special that you had the opportunity to do that. Imagine taking to the skies on a day like today with the sunshine. It would probably be pretty blinding up there. 15 degrees with east-northeast winds, a little bit breezy, gusting to 28 clicks. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 55%. And yeah, pretty clear conditions across most of the province. The exception right here in this very southwestern corner, a little bit of activity, the bulk of it south of the international border, but right along that very southern line could possibly see a bit of activity. Otherwise, clear no matter where you are. Right up into northern Manitoba, plenty of sunshine, plenty of heat. a little too much for some, and it's only going to intensify. So as hot as it's been, brace yourself because it's about to get hotter. Could see a little bit of that precipitation just kissing that most northern border. This is going to take you into Thursday morning. Most of us, though, staying in the clear. Now, when we're dealing with this kind of heat, there is the possibility to see some thunderstorms, for example, developing rather unexpectedly, which I think is what we're kind of seeing with that band that's moving south of us right now. But I mentioned this heat intensifying. So from 29 degrees that we're expecting today, which by the way is already above seasonal, 22 being normal for this time of year, we're then pushing up into those mid-30s. We'll stay there all throughout the coming weekend and even into next week. No real break from the heat. It looks like it's going to continue with plenty of sunshine. And our weather picture, speaking of sunshine, it looks like a beautiful sunrise that Hudson shared with us today. So thank you very much. Keep the art coming. We love checking out what you're working on. You can send it through our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and when you do, you're entered to win a $100 gift card from Crockadoodle on Kenniston.
The weather art of the day is brought to you by Crockadoodle. Spend quality time with loved ones and paint memories together.
It's being touted as the largest industrial development in Winnipeg's history. A developer has filed an application with the city for a 700-acre industrial park in Centerport. The project, known as Catalyst Park, is expected to bring thousands of jobs to the area. CTV's Jeff Keel reports.
It doesn't look like much now, but this dirt field in northwest Winnipeg could one day be home to a number of new companies.
This is major for Winnipeg. This is going to push an economic agenda for the city and for the province.
Jessamine Family Investments filed an application with the city to build a 700-acre industrial park on this land at Centerport. The mayor says the project, known as Catalyst Park, will be the largest industrial development in the city's history.
It'll be a significant industrial development, and it'll be transformative for Winnipeg's economy.
With the proximity to the airport N17 wing, the development is expected to attract the aerospace and defense sectors.
The Centerport South lands are adjacent to the Winnipeg airport, which really helps to develop and grow and continue to create high-wage, high-paying, good value jobs for Winnipeggers, all related to the sky economy.
Other manufacturing and distribution centers are also anticipated, as well as office buildings and research centers, plus education facilities, even restaurants, to complement the influx of new workers, which could number in the thousands.
I think it'd be fair to say it might look like a bit of a campus as well.
The move comes after the city and province paid to run sewer and water services to Winnipeg's portion of Centerport in 2022, paving the way for new businesses to come here or existing ones to expand.
There hasn't been that land base in the city of Winnipeg to allow those kind of investments to happen and that kind of growth to happen. So this is going to be much needed inventory.
The mayor is voicing his support for Catalyst Park. He notes there are strict drainage rules for developments near the airport, so retention ponds don't attract migrant birds near flight paths.
All the rules related to the airport vicinity plan would have to be complied with, but the Winnipeg Airport Authority right now is one of the most eager developers of their lands.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Even though there are no plans before any councillors at City Hall yet, the mayor has already written a letter to the local community committee, which would hear the application in the future. It's unclear at this time when the approval process could begin. Premier Wab Kinew had some direct words Tuesday for Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. He's urging her to consider pausing referendum talks and consult with the province's First Nations.
It is not up to the petition gatherers to fulfill the duty to consult. It is up to you as the Alberta government to fulfill the duty to consult.
Kinew, who was speaking directly to Smith at the annual meeting of Western and Northern Premiers, says with all provinces signing and building mega projects, including an Alberta pipeline to the West Coast, this isn't the time for such uncertainty. The Premier also says existing treaty rights of Indigenous peoples living in Alberta are not being considered.
In this case, when there's clearly going to be an impact on well-established existing hunting and fishing rights by putting up an international border, if some would have their way, the judge ruled, and I would agree with the judge's ruling, that that is going to infringe on rights.
The Premier also suggested holding off referendum talks until pipelines and projects can begin construction. Premier Smith didn't respond to Kinew and was not asked by reporters to respond. The conference wrapped up yesterday. 2 more 7-Eleven stores have closed up shop in Winnipeg. Signs have gone up at the Notre Dame and Arlington store, as well as the Keewatin Street near Logan Avenue location, saying the stores are permanently closed as of yesterday. They add to a growing list of locations which have shut down operations in recent months. Past closures in the city have been blamed on losses brought on by crime, and last month the chain announced it expects to close hundreds of North American locations this year. Mayor Scott Gillingham previously said 7-Eleven would be opening several new locations in the city, and as far as he knows, he's aware that's still the plan.
7-Eleven, if you take a look at what's happening across North America, they've closed hundreds of stores across North America. So this is not just a Winnipeg thing. There have been 7-Eleven store closures across North America, as my understanding is that they're going to a different model.
CTV News has reached out to 7-Eleven for comment. We're still waiting to hear back. The makers of Ozempic are slashing their prices to compete with the generic brand. Danish drug maker Novo Nordisk has announced that some Canadians will be able to buy the brand name Ozempic at a reduced price. It comes as 2 generic versions of Ozempic and Wegovy have started arriving at Canadian pharmacies. The discounts will kick in Friday and will be available to eligible Canadians who don't have public or private coverage. The reduced price can be accessed using a Novo Nordisk savings card, which can be used at local pharmacies across Canada, excluding Quebec. The Edmonton Valley Zoo has a pup date to share. This is video of the zoo's 3 new Arctic wolf pups. Zoo staff say the trio is now spending time outside their den. The zoo announced their births last week and say they are doing well. They also included a fun fact about the species, saying Arctic wolf pups are born blind and completely dependent on their parents, emerging from the den only after several weeks. Such cuties. Here's what's happening right now on the Norwood Bridge. Looks like things are moving quite well over here. We don't have any issues to tell you about at this point in this area of the city.
Bank of Montreal topping estimates on better than forecast results at its capital markets unit following a pattern seen with U.S. bank earnings amid elevated markets activity. Other banks reporting today include the Bank of Nova Scotia. It's seen a negative response in New York pre-market trading, even though it posted an earnings beat, supported by growth across all of its business lines, with credit losses edging lower and management saying the bank remains on track to achieve its financial objectives for fiscal 2026, prompting it to increase its dividend. National Bank of Canada beat analysts' expectations in its fiscal second quarter on strength across its major segments, while also setting aside less than anticipated for bad loans. The Montreal-based lender earned $3.23 per share. Calgary, Ottawa, Gatineau, Toronto, and Kelowna drove Canada's progress in diversifying trade in 2025, while others fell behind, says a new report from the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Calgary saw a 65% increase in exports to non-U.S. markets. The report says the highly integrated manufacturing regions that are affected by the U.S., including Oshawa, London, and Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo, are showing some of the clearest signs of trade-related economic stress. Those are your morning business headlines. For BNN Bloomberg, I'm Roger Peterson.
If you like to groove, check out this Your Morning Winnipeg contest. The Winnipeg International Jazz Festival will be happening from June 16th to the 21st. And this is your chance to win a pair of tickets to 2 shows at the Burton Cummings Theatre, Soul Supreme on June 17th and Miles Electric Band on June 21st. 50 artists from around the world are coming for its 35th annual festival. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvwinnipeg.ca. And don't forget to enter the keyword trumpet. Good luck. All right, we're going to go to break right now. We'll be right back after this. Wake up and win with CTV Your Morning and Manitoba Blue Cross. We can pay your bills with a massive $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. Today's code word is riches. Head to the contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter riches with your info for your chance to win the Your Morning $20,000 Pay Your Bills contest. Brought to you by Manitoba Blue Cross, your local trusted health benefits provider. Good luck. The Manitoba government plans to greatly reduce the number of locations where flavored vaping products can be sold. A bill introduced in the legislature Tuesday would forbid the sale of such products in businesses in urban areas that allow people under 18 to enter. The measure would not apply in rural areas. The NDP government says the aim is to help reduce the risk that minors might see the products by enticing that they'd be enticed by the flavoring and get hooked. But the Manitoba Lung Association says stronger measures are needed, and the idea lags behind efforts in some other provinces. It's hoping the government will change the bill before it is passed into law. A heavy police presence descended on the city's Sargent Park neighborhood Tuesday. Police cruisers could be seen blocking off a stretch of Garfield Street north near the intersection of Sargent Avenue. Further up the street, several officers and the armored rescue vehicle were spotted on the yard of a home. A police spokesperson says they were there to execute a search warrant and there was no threat to public safety. Nearly 3/4 of Manitobans are ready to stop changing the clocks twice a year. That's according to a new survey by Prairie Research Associates. A little more than a third of those polled would prefer to stay on daylight saving time, citing the value of more daylight in the evenings for after work or school activities. 18% would rather stick to standard time, and 21% said they'd be happy with any permanent time change. Just 14% said they'd rather continue switching between the two, while slightly fewer said they had no preference. The survey of 1,060 Manitobans took place between May 21st and 25th. It cannot be assigned a margin of error as the sample was made up of panel members. However, a random survey of the same size would have a margin of error plus or minus 3 percentage points. The province is conducting its own survey right now to gauge how people feel about the future of the time change in Manitoba. You can give your thoughts by visiting engagemb.ca. The mayoral campaign has begun in Kitimat, BC. In this case, it's a campaign for dog mayor. 2 candidates are in the race. There's Gus, who's promising a fuzzier future with free universal health care for pets and more poop bags in the park. The not-for-profit there's also Coco, who wants to see dog days at the local pool and pet-friendly sirens on emergency vehicles. Voting day is October 17th. The town is hoping the dog mayor race will help engage younger voters in the actual electoral process during this mayoral election year. Here's what's happening now on Kenniston Boulevard. It looks like things are moving well over here. It's hard to tell by this camera, but overall, we haven't heard any issues in this part of the city. If you see anything out there, please let us know. Send us a text at 10400.
Traffic is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. No appointment needed.
It's time now for a question of the day. How do you cool down on hot days? You can text your answer to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. And don't forget to include your name, please.
Question of the day, brought to you by Provivo, Manitoba's #1 cool sculpting clinic. Science-backed body contouring.
At Your Morning Winnipeg, we're all about celebrating your amazing pets, furry, feathered, or scaly. Your Pet of the Week submissions are amazing. We want more, whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals. Send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to Pet of the Week at CTV.ca, and then catch us every Thursday to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week on Your Morning Winnipeg. In entertainment news, a family-friendly event is returning to the Forks next month. The Winnipeg International Children's Festival is gearing up for its 44th year. The multi-day event features arts and crafts, visual displays, food trucks, interactive workshops, and more. There will also be an entirely local lineup of performers, including Fred Penner, Al Simmons, and Sarah Tico. You can catch all the action at the CN Stage and Field Grounds from June 11th through the 14th. Tickets are on sale now at kidsfest.ca. You can peek behind the curtain at several of the city's historic gems this weekend with the return of Doors Open Winnipeg. The free event offers you the chance to explore dozens of homes, churches, museums, and much more that are normally closed to the public. Many locations also offer guided tours or have volunteers on hand to show you around and answer your questions. Due to high demand, you'll need to register for some of the events beforehand. You can do that and find a full list of locations by visiting doorsopenwinnipeg.ca. When football is life, life becomes real life.
Teammates since day one, they welcome me, they let me compete, they treated me like another player, and it's a great team. We have a great team.
Cristo Fernandez, who plays a soccer player on TV, has now signed with an actual football club based in the U.S. Fernandez plays Danny Rojas in the popular TV series Ted Lasso. He's signed with USL Championship side El Paso Locomotive FC, which is in the second highest league in the U.S. He calls it a dream come true, and now his popular Ted Lasso catchphrase, "Football is life, is real." One of Canada's biggest rock acts opened its nationwide tour in the Maritimes Tuesday night. The Guess Who with Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman were scheduled to open the tour of classic hits in Moncton, New Brunswick. Tonight, they bring the show to Halifax Scotiabank Centre. It marks the first time they've toured as the Guess Who since 2000. They're scheduled to play Winnipeg's Canada Life Centre next Friday, June the 5th. You can find tickets through Ticketmaster. There are cultural curiosities that tend to make the news for all the wrong reasons, but an upcoming event in Winnipeg is promising a deep dive into the inner workings of cults. Hosted by cult interventionist Mike King, The Psychology of Cults offers an exploration of how they form, why people join, and what it takes to break free. Using real-life examples such as the infamous Jonestown, Heaven's Gate, and NXIVM groups, King explores the coercion and tactics leaders employ and how some of those same methods can take shape in everyday life, from relationships to workplaces. The event takes place November 3rd at Centennial Concert Hall. Tickets are on sale Thursday. Just visit centennialconcerthall.com. Here's your primetime lineup for this Wednesday. Kick off with MasterChef at 7. The Floor comes next at 8. Then catch 3 episodes of The Big Bang Theory starting at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
A look now through the CTV Live Eye, brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. It is going to be another warm one today, no matter where you are in the province. We're talking these above seasonal temperatures, and even as I say that, you should know that it's going to get even hotter through the rest of the week. We're in for this stretch of well above seasonal temperatures, and where we're headed today, it's only the beginning. We're actually beginning at 16 degrees, while we were as low as 13. That was our coldest temperature this morning. When 8 degrees is a seasonal low, we're coming in well above that already. 15 in Portage-la Prairie, 14 in Brandon, in the Morden Winkler area, double digits all throughout southern, central Manitoba, and then starting to look through northern Manitoba in the single digits to start. But you too are in for a warm up, although it hasn't started warming up yet. Churchill was at -1 last hour, and you've actually dropped off to -2. However, you've got some fog in the Churchill area right now. That'll burn off. Then you'll see some sunshine, and then those temperatures will take you to above seasonal values as well. So clear conditions aside from that fog up north. It's here in the very southwestern corner of the province that we've been seeing the only bit of activity, and it's just right along that very southern border. The bulk of it is a band of thunderstorms that's moving south of the international line. As we continue on through the day, it will be a sunny one. A little bit breezy today, so you'll be thankful that air is moving at least. 25 through the lunch hour, 28 by the time kids are coming home from school. 29 are expected high today. 22 would be normal. But instead of normal, we're soaring above it. Mid-30s through the rest of the week and into the coming weekend. And a little peekaboo action with this owl playing in the North Kildonan area. Thanks to Chantel for sharing the photo, and keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Weather is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Same-day oil and tire changes.
May 27th, 1937. The Golden Gate Bridge spanning San Francisco Bay was opened. It first opened to pedestrians, and an estimated 200,000 people crossed on foot before cars were allowed the next day. At the time, it was the longest suspension bridge in the world, a record it held until 1964. May 27th, 2020. 4 Minneapolis police officers were fired after bystander video captured the death of George Floyd while in police custody. 2 days later, former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was charged with murder and manslaughter in the death of Floyd. May 27th, 2022. The World Health Organization said nearly 200 cases of monkeypox had been reported in more than 20 countries, not usually known to have outbreaks of the disease. The outbreak later prompted a name change due to concerns about stigma and misleading associations. It became known thereafter as Mpox, a change made later in 2022. There's a new program aimed at giving everyone in an Ontario city access to athletic equipment. CTV's Sean Leathong has more on the series of equipment lockers in city parks that will allow residents to play ball even if they don't own one.
It has everything you need to get in the game. These lockers set up in 30 Brampton parks are offering free sports equipment to anyone who wants to play.
We want to make sports accessible for everyone. So it's literally a box with sports equipment, basketballs, volleyballs, soccer balls in our 30 busiest parks.
Using an app on your phone, you can just punch in your location, borrow the equipment inside, and play.
I want them to be used. I want our parks to be busy, no matter
app and the Canadian Tire charity Jumpstart, who launched the project.
We know that the cost is the #1 barrier to participation for many kids in communities across the country.
There we go. The program has already been launched in Ottawa, as well as Vancouver and Surrey, BC, and the results show an average of 3 kids using each piece of equipment for more than an hour on each rental.
So the numbers are astronomical in terms of what they're doing for participation rates in the heart of communities that are predominantly deprived.
When you're done, you just put it back. And if you're wondering how often the equipment gets stolen,
it's the #1 question we get. And I can tell you hand over heart that we have had 1 piece of equipment stolen since last July when these were deployed in Surrey, BC.
With Jumpstart committing to replace anything that gets lost.
We got high hopes for this.
The idea originated in Europe from a think tank sponsored by the International Olympic Committee. Results there have been positive, with more expected to come this way soon, getting more kids in the game. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
For all those who play team sports, check out this contest. We're giving away 25 $100 Chicken Chef gift cards with draws every week from May 25th to July the 17th. Tell us about your most memorable fun team moment, attach a picture, and you will be entered into the draw. Plus, your picture and story could be featured on our show. Your team memory could be about a great play, exciting wins or losses, or just fun antics. All those things that make memorable moments and show your team spirit. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvwinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form with your answer and your picture. Good luck.
Your Manitoba sports team moment brought to you by Chicken Chef, where memories are made.
Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live at the Y this morning. We're hearing about the Strong Kids program and how it's really making a difference for some children. Hello.
Hi, and getting that membership for a child can be transformative. It certainly was for Emily Mandaman. Tell us a little bit about your story, because you're one of the originators.
You know, I've grown up playing basketball since probably I was 11 or 12, and I started originally in my home community of Shoal Lake 39 in Ontario, but I had to move to Winnipeg in order to go to high school and for better basketball and for better education. And I kind of lost that sense of community coming from a small little reservation, and you know, I was very, very much community driven and community built. And so after that void was kind of there, I was really looking for something to kind of fill it. And I always knew basketball was going to be there for me, but I had nowhere to play until I caught the bus one day and I drove past the YMCA, and then I found myself there, and I found out they had an open gym. And so I was there every single day, just finding myself, finding community, and finding, I guess, support and love from somewhere that wasn't my reservation. That meant a lot to me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and now you're a pro. Why should we be getting memberships, because today with the Strong Kids campaign, to other kids and other families?
I think the reality of it is that a lot of families struggle to make things a reality financially, especially in this day and age. And, you know, I didn't come from a lot with my family, and so I struggled to find money for the memberships every single day and the drop-in fees. So my dad actually had to take out a loan in order for me to go to the YMCA and for me to play basketball. And honestly, I think that kind of saved my life in a way, and the YMCA helped me on my journey in ways that I can't even imagine. So now by playing basketball and by doing everything that I've done, I've got to see the world and make connections. But it wouldn't have been possible without, you know, my dad having to take out a loan, which was a sad reality of it. But it's like having the YMCA for people like me and for people that come from places I come from, it honestly could change their lives as well.
Thank you so much. You said it so well. It's so great to have those perfect concrete examples. Yeah. Really appreciate this chat.
Thank you, Ainsley. And it's going to be another hot day today.
Yeah, and then tomorrow will be a hot day. That's what I was saying earlier on this morning when I'm using hot to describe today. How do I talk about tomorrow? Because today is only a fraction of where we're headed. 16 degrees is where we're sitting right now with plenty of sunshine and a bit of a breeze. We've got an east-northeast wind gusting to 30 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 53%. But you're right, it is going to be hot today. It's going to be sunny and dry for the most part. We've been keeping our eye on just this band. Is the very tail end of this whole line of storms that's running south of the border. So for the most part, that's moving through northern states, but just along that very southern border, you could be seeing just the very tail end of that activity. Otherwise, clear conditions across the province, and yes, above seasonal temperatures. Today headed to a high of 29 degrees here in Winnipeg. 22 is normal for this time of year. We've got that breeze. It's a little bit more noticeable today. It's not intense by any means, but up to 30 winds out of the east. Sunshine, dry, a little bit breezy. Now overnight, we're going to drop off into the mid-teens again, so very similar to this past night, staying well above seasonal. And normal low would be 8 degrees, 15 instead. Those winds easing ever so slightly, only to increase again for tomorrow. So that south wind up to 30 clicks, but the temperature up to 35 degrees. So yes, we'll be glad to have a bit of a breeze moving that very hot air around. 35 degrees is kind of the stretch or the zone that we're going to stay in throughout the rest of the week and into the weekend, and even into next week. We're seeing this very hot temperatures continuing, plenty of sunshine, dry conditions, and even our overnight lows remaining well above seasonal.
The future of a food security program hundreds of older Manitobans rely on is in doubt. Its current source of funding has been discontinued, meaning by the end of the summer, the program will end.
We're hoping that this isn't sort of a systemic issue of ageism where older adults aren't being considered within policy.
During the pandemic, Age and Opportunity set up a food hamper program. It arranges for the hampers to be directly delivered to the seniors who need them. Age and Opportunity says the province, which has funded the program for the past 2 years, recently told them they were moving on. To ensure clients aren't left in a lurch, Age and Opportunity has sent them this letter explaining that due to funding reductions, the hamper delivery program ends August 31st. That's unwelcome news for the more than 500 older adults who access the program, like Victoria Como, who has been receiving a hamper as she recovers from a serious assault in 2025.
A program like this is the world there, not only just for the food that comes once a month, but for that little bit of social aspect of having that visit.
Como's son, Joseph Foray, says he'll figure out how to replace the food that may no longer be coming. The province says it's moving to a more direct partnership with an organization called Heart to Home, which has actually been delivering the hampers to seniors. Health Minister Uzama Azaguera says there should be a smooth transition with no service interruptions for clients. On the issue of separation, Prime Minister Mark Carney said a 50+1 referendum result won't be enough to break up the country.
Under a Clarity Act, it is absolutely not, and I would just recommend that you read the Clarity Act. It's very clear. Not surprisingly, the Clarity Act is very clear, and a determination, and there's a series of conditions which I responded in the House for the record.
The Prime Minister was responding to a comment made in the House by a Bloc Québécois MP who suggested a bare majority would be enough. Carney says the House won't weigh in on whether the question on Alberta's upcoming referendum is clear. That's because that vote is not binding. Some much-needed help is on the way for communities battling wildfires this season.
To lease 10 additional wildfire-fighting aircraft that will support our provinces and our territories in their response, and that will be available beginning this wildfire season.
The 10 aircraft include air tankers and helicopters. They will be stationed across the country based on expected need. The government says it chose to lease the aircraft instead of buying so they could be used immediately. Unseasonably warm weather continues to grip parts of Western Europe. London hit a record 35 degrees today. It also recorded a rare tropical night, meaning the temperature stayed above 20 degrees overnight. Records also fell in France at 36 degrees. And in southern Spain, Seville hit 38 degrees over the weekend. The area could see 40-degree weather later this week. Visitors to Birds Hill Provincial Park hoping to cool off this week will have to wait a little longer. Manitoba Park says the pump used to fill the lake needs to be repaired. That fix will be done this week, but it then takes about 2 weeks to fill the lake. Beachgoers can expect regular water levels by mid-June, according to staff. Summertime is near, and with it comes a temptation to go on holiday. But according to a new survey, more than 1 in 3 Canadians are planning to spend less this season. The survey was conducted by TD Bank and found Canadians are adjusting travel budgets based on increased cost pressures. 44% of participants said higher fuel costs are influencing their travel decisions. 62% say they're redirecting spending towards everyday needs, such as groceries and fuel. Meanwhile, more than 3/4 of Canadians planning to travel will do so within Canada, with more than half planning to explore their own province. The survey was conducted from April 17th through the 27th of this year and had a sample of 1,500 adults. We have some road closures to remind you about this morning. Following the rush, the north and southbound curb lanes on Main Street Bridge will be closed for landscaping maintenance. The southbound curb lane on Main will be closed from Portage to Pioneer, and the eastbound curb and middle lanes on Portage will be closed between Broadway and Burrowman. If you have any other traffic tips to share, please let us know. Here's a look now at your gas prices. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.69 and it keeps going down, and the lowest price in the city is $1.50, found at 204 Fuels on Salter Street. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
Here's a look outside right now. We're sitting at a gorgeous sunny skies. 16 degrees is where we're sitting at right now. We'll be back after this.
A beautiful sunny start to your day. A warm one, too. 16 degrees puts us well above seasonal. Thankfully, we do have a little bit of a breeze out there, an east-northeast wind. It's gusting right now to 30 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 53%. So yes, that little bit of a breeze at least keeps that hot air moving. We're also seeing a little bit of activity. It's only in this very southwestern corner of the province, and it might run right along that very southern border. Most of it is actually rolling through the south of the border. Most of Manitoba in the clear, with the sunshine, with the heat, above seasonal temperatures right up into northern Manitoba. A little bit of fog in the Churchill area. Those are the lines that you're seeing there. But even there, 9 degrees, 7 would be a seasonal daytime high. So even Churchill is likely to end up above seasonal, although you are starting out below the freezing mark this morning. So you've still got a ways to go, but you'll make those gains no problem, especially once it clears out and that fog burns off for everybody else. High teens, low 20s, right up into the northwest. Seasonal temperatures this time of year in this area would put you in the high teens, so not soaring beyond it, but a few degrees warmer than you might expect this time of year, whereas southern Manitoba, 22 degrees would be a normal daytime high. And instead, we've got high 20s and low 30s that we're expecting all throughout the south, and it's only going to continue to heat up throughout this week. So as warm as it'll be today, brace yourself, because these temperatures, they're really getting kicked up through tomorrow and for the rest of the week. Further east of us, plenty of sunshine as well, and it does look like we'll see dry conditions throughout this week as the heat intensifies. So low 30s after today, and that's where we'll stay throughout the weekend. But even on the other side of that into next week, this heat wave seems to continue.
Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live at the Y this morning. We're talking about strong kids and how there's a real need to support the program. Hi, Ainsley.
Hi, kids and families benefit so much from the YMCA in Winnipeg. Cordella Friesen joins us now. She's the CEO. So with the Strong Kids program, what is it allowing families to do?
So my favorite thing about the Y is how many family things we have going on at the Y. I know we're known for our fitness center, we're known for our gym and basketball and playing floor hockey, but we also have playground structures, bouncy castles for kids' activities so that families can just get their kids' energy out. We have things related to aquatics, so swim lessons, free swim, evenings and weekends. I mean, the amount that I have had kids playing, Marco Polo in the pool is pretty incredible, and it gets their energy out, but it also helps them make friends, make connections, have play. I think the world is pretty serious right now, but when we think about family spaces, the Y is the one place where you can come to, 7 days a week with your family and know your family's going to be taken care of, that there will be connections, they will find mentors, they will be challenged to try new things, and it's all throughout the Y.
In 30 seconds or less, why should someone at home sponsor?
So I think the big thing that I would say is that there should be no barriers for kids and families to access the Y. When we are open 7 days a week from like 6 a.m. to 10:30 p.m., we are that place that you want your kids to be, as opposed to at that standing outside that grocery store or standing on the streets doing other things. You want your kids at the Y, and this is an opportunity for us to do our part to make sure we're supporting kids and healthy communities.
Thank you so much. The Strong Kids campaign. We're here throughout the morning. Support the YMCA.
Thank you, Ainsley. NASA has revealed their roadmap for a major base on the moon. Check out the futuristic vision with 3 phases starting this year. Eventually, drones and lunar rovers will be used to scout the best landing sites near the South Pole. In 2029, assembling the moon base begins, including nuclear and solar-powered systems. By 2032, astronauts begin living and working on the moon.
Artemis astronauts will stay longer, explore farther, and conduct the kinds of science that advances exploration itself.
It comes 6 weeks after the Artemis 2 mission that sent astronauts around the moon for the first time in 50 years. NASA hopes to land Artemis 4 astronauts on the moon in 2028. Peru celebrated one of its national treasures this week. Monday was National Clown Day in Peru. Hundreds of clowns showed up to fill downtown Lima with music, laughter, and oversized shoes. Clown Day in Peru honors a performer who visited struggling neighborhoods in Lima in the 80s to bring some joy to those communities. A friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is catching attention in Fredericton. CTV's Laura Brown on the hero we didn't know we needed.
His spidey senses told him the world could use a pick-me-up. So he put on the mask.
I just wanted to come out, hopefully inspire people, do a good deed, make people laugh, and just kind of spread joy in whatever way I can.
The idea to become Fredericton's friendly neighborhood superhero started by untangling some bad guy behavior.
I drove down here the other day and noticed right along this whole strip there's a lot of garbage piled up.
So for about a month now, a couple hours a week, morning or night, whenever he can escape his real life, Spider-Man appears.
And do your family and friends know who you are and do they know you're doing this?
And nobody knows. No, I'm very sneaky.
Just as Peter Parker intended.
Definitely noticed the Green Goblin lurking around. So.
Frederictonians are taking notice and leaning into the Marvel.
Spider-Man is cool, but I'm more of a Batman guy. But no. It just causes people to be more social and to talk to people, right? I think that's just the valuable thing in community, is just getting more people to talk to each other.
I've seen him on TikTok. I said, if I go to Fredericton, maybe I'll get lucky and see him. Well, I did.
He claims he's not looking for fame or fortune, but something that means a lot to this Spider-Man is showing children they can do good simply because it's the right thing to do.
The saying with Spider-Man is everyone can wear the mask. Doesn't have to be someone special. It can be boy or girl, any gender, any person, anywhere in the world can help out in their own way.
A reminder that with great power comes great responsibility. Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
Let's see who's celebrating a milestone today. Happy 37th birthday, Horatio, with lots of love from your wife, Barb. Happy 11th birthday, Nathaniel. Love from your family here and abroad. Happy 6th birthday, Mika. Love Mom, Dad, and Reese. Happy 1st birthday, Kai. Love great Auntie Barb. And a happy 90th birthday to Helen. Love and best wishes from the folks who call you Mom and Grandma, Joanne, Jordan, and Ken. To submit your milestone, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It'll also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Milestones is brought to you by Party Stuff, Winnipeg's balloon headquarters with 3 locations.
Weather is brought to you by the Better Business Bureau. Research at bbb.org before you buy.
Beautiful out here now, but it's about to get hot, headed to a high of 29 degrees. Now, 22 is normal for this time of year. We went beyond it last year up to 26.3, but all the way back in 1919, 34.4 degrees. And those are the kind of temperatures that you can expect after today. Those mid-30 temperatures taking hold through the rest of this week and lasting into the weekend. So today, in comparison, will be a lot cooler than that, but even that will put us well above seasonal. Is already an above seasonal start to your day. 8 would be a normal low. The coolest temperature we had this morning was 13 degrees. We're now at 16 degrees with those east-northeast winds gusting to 30 kilometers per hour, and I'm welcoming that breeze already. Pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 53%. The sun is shining, it's bright, it's going to stay that way across the province. Most of us, clear conditions are expected throughout the day today. The one little bit of activity that we're seeing is just the tail end of a band of thunderstorms that's, for the most part, passing through the northern states, just south of the international line, but a little bit of that is pushing into southwestern Manitoba. We might see that just kind of kissing that southern border throughout the morning hours. Other than that, clear, dry, and yes, incredibly warm, above seasonal temperatures across the province, only to get hotter throughout the rest of the week.
Thank you, Terry. Canada's Royal Canadian Air Force snowbirds have taken to the skies, entertaining crowds since 1971. But the squadron will be temporarily grounded because its Tudor jets are old and need to be replaced. The plan is to replace the jet with a new aircraft, the CT-157 Siskin II, but it's expected the air demonstration team won't be back in the skies until at least 2030. Members of the Snowbirds Alumni Association are raising red flags about the future of the squadron. Joining us now is retired Lieutenant Colonel and former Snowbirds commander and pilot Maryse Carmichael. Good morning, Maryse.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, you became the first woman to fly with the Snowbirds in 2000. In 2010, you became the team's first female commanding officer. Tell us what it has meant to you to be a part of the Snowbirds team.
For me, it was a dream come true. You know, I am one of those young Canadians that went to an air show when I was a young girl. I went to the Bagotville International Air Show, saw the Snowbirds, saw those 9 red and white jets in the blue sky. Really thinking about who was in those cockpits, what kind of pilot was in there, and you know what, they inspired me. I joined the Canadian Armed Forces. I became a military pilot, and then fortunately, yes, in 2000 was selected to become a Snowbird 3.
You know, Maryse, in 2008, I was lucky enough to actually get a ride in a Snowbird when they came to town here in Manitoba. It was both a cool and frightening experience, seeing just how close the jets came to each other during that formation. It was quite wild and exciting. Describe to us what it's like for you as a pilot to be able to fly like that.
So I'm glad you were able to fly with the team, because I'm sure during your flight you probably realize the skills that are required to fly those jets. I mean, from wingtip to wingtip is 2 meters. So you have 9 airplanes in close formation, low to the ground, and doing some dynamic maneuvering. So that requires a very special set of skills. And that is one of the reasons why we are so concerned about this pause that the government announced, because you can't put all this experience gained over 55 years of snowbirds flying in Canada. It's really difficult to put this experience aside and then come back and pick it up in 3, 4, or 5 years. So these skills have been acquired. They need to be maintained, and that's a really important factor in this decision and the way forward.
And what are your feelings about the new aircraft that was selected to be eventually used as part of the Snowbirds?
First and foremost, I want to thank the government. I want to thank the government, the RCAF, for making a decision. It is important. Yes, the Tudor is 63 years old. It's a Canadian airplane. And now, after 63 years, it is time to find a replacement. That's number one. And I understand that this time, especially in Canada, it is so dynamic. The government and the Air Force are going through a modernization plan. There are many different fleets across Canada and across the RCAF that are being modernized. Tremendous shortage of personnel. So I want to salute this decision to move to a different airplane. The Siskins, the CT-157 Siskins 2 turboprop airplane. So it's going to be a different show for our Canadians across the country, but very agile, very maneuverable airplane that I believe will delight Canadians too when it comes in service.
Now, the Snowbirds will host its 55th anniversary air show July 11th at 15 Wing in Moose Jaw. It's expected to be the final hometown show before the replacement of the fleet. Are you planning to be there, Metis?
Unfortunately, I won't be. And I want to just confirm one thing. The air show is not at 15 Wing on the base. It will be at the Moose Jaw Municipal Airport.
Okay.
So tickets were on sale this weekend. It's already sold out, unfortunately. Gosh. But it will be quite the air show, I'm sure.
Well, thank you so much for giving us some of your time today, and congratulations on your retirement. And thank you so much, Metis.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Jermaine Franklin in the SportsCenter newsroom with your must-see moment from Tuesday. For it, let's head to Korea. We've got an outstanding play in the Korean Baseball League. Jonathan Perlaza coming home, avoids the tag, doesn't seem to have a pathway back to the plate until he makes some Matrix-style moves to stick his hand in. The catcher appeared to have Perlaza in a pickle several times, but the shifty runner gets in safely. They had to review this one, but obviously no evidence of a tag being applied, so Perlaza's improv earns him the must-see moment. And right now on TSN, our Roland Garros coverage continues. Novak Djokovic is playing early in the day, while Alexander Zverev will be in action later. That's all for now from the SportsCenter newsroom. Have a great day.
The TSN must-see moment is brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, featuring Hunter Douglas products.
It's Wednesday, May 27th. Major development in the Northwest. An historic project is set for the Centerport area. How many acres will the industrial park encompass, and which sectors are showing interest? Temperatures soar from localized snow a few weeks ago to a widespread heat wave. Crews brace for a spike in wildfire danger as the summer swelter descends on the prairies. And the elbows are down, but spirits are way up as the ongoing Canada-U.S. rivalry plays out for the first time, not on the ice, but the shuffleboard court. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning. It's 8 o'clock on your Wednesday. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. Now at 8:15, we're going to tell you today is National Day of Action. There's a lot going on to honor and remember residential school survivors and the children that never made it home. So we're going to find out a little bit more about some of the ceremonies that are happening around town and what you could do to support them. But it's going to be a hot one if you're outside today.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody spending long periods of time outdoors, make sure that you're staying hydrated. Find some shady spots. All of those things that we start to talk about usually in July, we're starting to talk about now because we've kind of got July-like temperatures for a stretch of days now, or perhaps even hotter than as we're looking to the days ahead. It's 16 degrees right now in the city with east-northeast winds gusting to 30 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 53%. Plenty of sunshine, very little cloud cover out there. The one place that is the exception to the clear conditions that most of us are experiencing is right in this very southwestern part of the province, and you can see this line of precipitation, most of it staying stateside, but a little bit could roll right along those very southern borders. Now, we've been talking about the dry conditions, and lightning strikes is the last thing that we need, but we get what we get. So here's the thing, that very southwestern corner, the only place that's likely to deal with anything in the way of precipitation. Could be showers, but it could very well be those thunderstorms rolling through. Otherwise, clear and sunny. sunny, and yes, very hot, or getting even hotter yet. I was saying earlier that using the word hot today, what does that leave me with to describe tomorrow? Because tomorrow will be a bit of a scorcher, and in fact, not just tomorrow, but the rest of the week. A little bit of precipitation, but again, that too is probably missing a lot of Manitoba, rolling right along that very most northern border. So the bulk of the province, sunny, clear, dry conditions, sunny through the day, clear overnight, and yes, no signs of precipitation, but a whole lot of heat well above seasonal. 29 on tap today when 22 is normal, and then we're pushing up into those mid-30s throughout the rest of the week and the weekend. And our art today is a big old thanks to Hudson, 7 years old, with this setting or rising sun, I suppose. And we thank you for the art, and please keep sharing it with us. Send it through our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and when you do, you're entered to win a $100 gift card from Crockadoodle on Kenniston.
The weather art of the day is brought to you by Crockadoodle. Spend quality time with loved ones and paint memories together.
The largest industrial development in Winnipeg's history could be on its way to getting greenlit. The location is northwest of the James Armstrong Richardson International Airport. It would be the first industrial development to come to market in the Centre Port South area. Mayor Scott Gillingham says the Jessamine family is behind the project, which is known as Catalyst Park. In a letter to city councillors, he describes it as an exciting development which could bring jobs to the city, and he's not the only one interested by its potential.
Really speaks to the potential to grow Winnipeg's sky economy. I know already that one of the interested parties in looking at being located within this development is related to the aerospace sector. The Centerport South lands are adjacent to the Winnipeg Airport, which really helps to develop and grow and continue to create high-wage, high-paying, good value jobs for Winnipeggers.
There isn't much known yet about the approval process or when potential construction could begin, but to prepare for new investment in the Centre Port South area, the city has created a concierge team to navigate the planning process. A Manitoba man missing since Christmas Eve has been found dead. RCMP say the body of 37-year-old Blair Coles was found Saturday on Brady Road north of the perimeter. Mounties say criminality isn't suspected, but the cause of death remains under investigation pending autopsy results. Coles was last seen leaving an address on Manitoba Avenue in Selkirk on the morning of December 24th, 2025. There's concern that a record heat wave in the prairies could create dangerous wildfire conditions.
You get temperatures in excess of 30 degrees, and then you add these, 50, 60 kilometer-hour winds. It dries things out really fast.
Environment Canada has issued heat warnings for eastern parts of Alberta, most of southern Saskatchewan, and parts of southwestern Manitoba. Not even 2 weeks ago, you may remember some of these areas were getting snow and had temperatures around freezing. Recent moisture, including some rain in Alberta, has slowed the start of wildfire season, but Alberta and Saskatchewan are under high to extreme wildfire risk anyway. In Washington, President Donald Trump is set to host a cabinet meeting today as pressure continues to build for a resolution to the ongoing war with Iran. This comes as the ceasefire is being put to the test after Iranian forces threatened retaliation over U.S. strikes near the Strait of Hormuz. Shipping through the vital waterway remains restricted. Trump is facing growing pressure to secure a deal that would end the conflict and reopen the Strait of Hormuz after signaling that both sides were close to an agreement. It's not quite Canada's game, but some people do take shuffleboard seriously.
To me, shuffle is similar to curling. I mean, not there, but you have to have your weight, you have to have strategy.
It's Canada versus the U.S. at the first ever Can-Am Shuffleboard Court Tournament in Alberta. Team Canada is represented by players from Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario, and BC. This is a friendly rivalry with bragging rights on the line. The finals are on Friday. Here's a look at what's happening now in traffic along St. Mary's Road. Things look smooth over here. We have no real issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. If you see any problems out there, please send us a text when it's safe and legal to do so. Go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live this morning at the Y. We're hearing all about strong kids and how important it is in this community for kids who might not be able to access the Y. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, and we know that. We've seen that time and time again, but what we haven't talked about yet this morning is strong seniors and Shooty. is one of them. Tell us about why people should support the campaign, because you're here all the time, Judy.
This is my home away from home. I love the Y, here at least twice a day, and on weekends 3 times a day. When Ron and I moved to this city in 1982, we joined the Y. I can remember going to fitness classes at the old Webb place. We've ever since then been part of this, and our kids have been a part of it, and it's been so important for our family. When my husband suddenly died about 4 years ago, I decided I had to actually engage in fitness classes where there were people with me enjoying and learning, and that just has evolved to the point where I come twice a day for high-intensity interval training or synergy or yoga or Pilates or Zumba. And now I'm into powerlifting, and that is building my bones and keeping me out of a nursing home, I hope, and actually helping with me with my emotional trauma after the death of Ron, and giving me moral and physical support.
Did you think at this point in your life you'd be saying you're a powerlifter?
Never in a million years. It was because of great instructors here who said, try it. It's good for the brain. It's good for the body. It's good to stop the aging process. It's good to stop Alzheimer's. It's good for everything. And so I am so grateful for that. And I see this place changing all around me every day. The diversity here representing our community, people who are looking for help through difficult social circumstances, teenagers looking for a sense of belonging. It's just phenomenal what's been happening here. And now I think about what this Strong Kids campaign means and how transformative it will be for our community.
Judy, thank you so much. Okay. Come on, the best. Strong Kids, Strong Seniors.
Absolutely.
Donate today.
Absolutely. Tell Judy she looks great. Thank you, Ainsley. It can be frustrating if you have an appliance breakdown, and it seems with some models they don't make them like they used to. If you need to have something repaired, the cost can escalate quickly, especially if the problem isn't diagnosed properly the first time. CTV's Pat Foran explains.
It's not working. No heat whatsoever.
Louise Renwick of Markham says in early May her 4-year-old oven quit working. She called Samsung, but then decided to go with what she thought was a local repair company. A technician came to her home and charged her almost $800 to change a temperature sensor, but the oven still wouldn't turn on.
So I said, oh, just a minute. I don't think it's working. So I tried it, and it's exactly the way it was before he came in.
She was then told it was the oven's main board that needed replacing. They offered a 10% discount on the part, but with taxes and labor, repairs would be more than what she paid for the stove in the first place.
They won't come back unless I agree to pay another $700-800 on top of the $800 I've already given them.
She hired the A-Team Appliance Repair, which was the first company to pop up in a Google search. On the invoice, it says A-Team Appliance Repair works out of this building in Markham, but the security guard said they left 5 months ago. Our emails to the company were not returned. When we called them, they hung up.
Thank you for calling Appliance Repair Team.
Hello, Lisa speaking. How may I help you today?
Hi, it's Pat Foran calling from CTV News. We're just trying to speak to someone about a complaint. Hello?
That is a very high number of complaints.
The Better Business Bureau says in the past 3 years, there have been 732 complaints filed against the company, and they've been given an F, the Bureau's lowest rating. There's a pattern of complaints.
Consumers are alleging that the company is unable to properly diagnose and repair the appliances effectively, and the cost of repairs are grossly inflated.
The BBB suggests checking its website for reviews, calling a manufacturer directly, and to realize some companies pay Google to be the first to pop up in online searches. As for Renwick, she's putting her money towards a new stove, not more repairs.
I can buy a new one for $1,200. That's better than this stove.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
All right, we're looking outside now through the CTV Live Eye, brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. Clear, sunny, warm. It's going to get hot today, though, and then even hotter throughout the week. As far as temperatures go, we're well above seasonal and seeing those gains every hour when they update. 17 now is where we're sitting here in Winnipeg and in Portage. Morton Winkler right there at 17 degrees as well. 15 at the moment in Brandon and in Dauphin. Fisher Branch at 15 too, and those mid-teens right up into parts of the north. Single digits through more of the northeast, but even up in Lynn Lake, you've seen a jump now to 11 degrees, and even Churchill, who was at -2 last hour, is starting to make some gains, and you too in the Churchill area will end up above seasonal. It's just been a little bit cool for you to kick things off. You had some heavier fog hanging around in the Churchill area, so not as much of that bright sunshine, but once that sun burns off that fog, you can bet you're going to see that temperature on the rise as well. The only bit of activity we've been seeing is in this very southern corner of the province, southwestern corner, right along that very southern border is where there might be just the tail end of a band of thunderstorms that's been rolling south of the border. So most of it staying stateside. Most of the sunshine then staying throughout the province, and the mercury on the rise. 19 degrees as kids get into the classroom, 25 through the lunch hour, 22 is a normal daytime high. We'll have already surpassed that by noontime, and up to 28 degrees. That's not even as hot as it'll get. 29 our expected high for today. 22 I mentioned being a normal daytime high will be more than 10 degrees above seasonal throughout the rest of the week as we push up into those mid-30s and stay there all throughout the weekend, with that heat expected to continue on the other side into next week. We're taking a break right now, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
It's been 5 years since 215 anomalies were found near the former site of a British Columbia residential school. The discovery garnered attention around the country and the world and began the movement of Every Child Matters. Today is National Day of Action. It's a day to remember residential school survivors and the need to continue supporting them. Joining us now is the Executive Director of the Anish Healing Center, Eva Wilson-Fontaine. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now take us back to 5 years ago when these anomalies were discovered in BC. It really opened people's minds about what happened at residential schools. Tell us about the impact that had.
Well, the children actually, voices rose from those graves, and what it really spoke to was that everything that survivors had been saying, you know, for years and years and years, it was validating that they are there, and we are still searching for those missing children and all those unmarked graves, which is why the day of action is happening today.
Okay, let's talk about the movement that it began, Every Child Matters. It became a Canadian phenomenon, even a global phenomenon. Describe to us what that is and how it's really changed.
Yeah, I think it brought nations together, really, and it heightened, even before that, there were, you know, the Every Child Matters was happening, but that kind of solidified and made people really take notice and say, okay, this is really happening, and people came out in droves, and when we had the marches for September 30th, you know, we had thousands of people, and now it's a national holiday, and so it really heightened Canada's dark history.
All right, let's talk about what's happening today. It's a day of action, and many residential school survivors are expected to be here. How difficult is it for them to keep revisiting this?
Well, first of all, I just really want to uplift survivors right now, because this day is about them, our families and our communities, because it's about having government honor and provide or honor the calls to action, the 94 calls to action through the Truth and Reconciliation. And it's about government holding up to those commitments, and by way of providing statutory funding. Because every year it seems we're operating on fiscal year funding, and there's nothing ever permanent. And so if the government provides statutory funding, then there's surety that survivors won't be having to know if there's going to be health supports and cultural supports and healing services provided to them going forward. And this is the same for when we're searching for the missing children and the unmarked graves. There's so much uncertainty around that, and there shouldn't be.
And why should we keep spending on those searches?
Well, you know, Canada has had policies inflicted on Indigenous people, on our survivors, which has deeply rooted impacts. And so, and to understand that there are intergenerational impacts as well, and so that in order to really dig deep into those traumas and help people through them, there is no time frame on healing. And so the government has to own up to that. And so that's what this day of action is about, is demanding Canada to uphold those commitments, because these are essentially our treaties. And what they're doing is they're trying to reduce and sunset our treaties, especially for First Nations people. But we also, you know, from all of this too, what it's really brought together is it's unified not only survivors, but we as we had SCO and MKO and AMC. We have our Bringing Them Home Committee, Manitoba Métis and the Inuit Manitoba Association, and just broadly, nationally, because this is a national program. This is not happening only in Manitoba. This affects every Indigenous person, every Métis, every Inuit person across this country we call Canada. And so we need to ensure, and we need to ask our allies and everybody to come out and support us in today, because it's an important day that we move forward in a way that is true and truth, that we're walking in our truth today, so that we can all walk together in reconciliation and learn to walk together side by side.
Okay, well, Eva, thank you so much for this. And if you want more information about what is happening today, we have a link on our website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you're heading out for those events or really anything that you plan on doing outside today, slather up the sunscreen, stay hydrated, all of those things that we start to talk about when we're dealing with extreme heat, because that's what's on tap today and throughout the rest of the week. 17 degrees is where we're sitting right now with an east wind 22 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, humidity at 51%. It is bright, it is sunny. A hat would be a good idea, sunglasses too on a day like today, and especially once we're getting into some of that extreme heat later this afternoon, finding ways to keep cool, finding a spot in the shade. If you are spending long periods of time outdoors, making sure that you're just being smart about it with that water close at hand and staying hydrated throughout the day. It is going to get hotter throughout this week, so as warm as today will be, just know that there's more of that heat coming, and once it sets in, we're not going to get any relief even with the overnight temperatures, as they're going to be staying close to the 20-degree range with daytime highs pushing up into the mid-30s. So that'll be for tomorrow and the rest of the week. Today we're only pushing up into those high 20s, but still that puts us well above seasonal. Normal daytime highs 22 degrees, but instead 29 is on tap for us later this afternoon. Our picture today, I love this one, made me chuckle at my desk this morning. This little owl peeking at us, watching us from behind the tree. Chantel, thank you for sharing this with us, and keep the photos coming to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Weather is brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful. Our new Hunter Douglas showroom is at 900 Lorimer.
It seems to be such a struggle just to experience life these days without going completely broke. This is why we're turning to consumer expert Barry Choi joining us today. Barry, expenses are going up, 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 and it is so hard to keep up. You've got some tips to share with us today.
I sure do.
So where do we even begin? I mean, I suppose we can start just with basic everyday to-day habits?
Yeah, I think it starts with being intentional with your spending. Some people who want to save time or money, they cut everything. That doesn't work long term. You want to look for clever ways to save. And what I mean by that is think about the apps, services, platforms, and even loyalty programs you use. With the right ones, you can simplify your life, save money, and earn bonus rewards points on spending you're already making. And ultimately, what it comes down to is looking for those efficiencies that will help you save time and money.
Okay, you mentioned apps. Are there any that stand out that we should maybe be downloading?
Definitely one of my favorite homegrown apps, Skip. You know, it is known as a delivery network. It covers some great things such as groceries, restaurants, pet supplies, and even everyday pharmacy essentials. What I love about Skip is it's grown from basically a food delivery network, but it's now a full-fledged convenience network, which helps Canadians connect from retail and restaurant partners to even so many great things. So you can get groceries, meals delivered right to you in the palm of your hand, or if you're using your computer. This kind of convenience is perfect for people who are trying to manage their busy lives and save time overall. And this is just one example of how people can simplify their lives, save money, especially considering Skip has in-app offers and limited time deals, which can help you save even more money.
Nice. And I mean, groceries that you mentioned are one of the biggest hits to the wallets. What tips can you share there?
I would say start with your grocery list. Always have one so you're not overspending. I like to have my main essentials on that list all the time and add things as needed. I don't want to be in that grocery store and pick up things that I don't need. Another thing to be considerate of is the prices, weekly prices, and where you're shopping. Everyone knows that different grocery stores have different prices on those weekly flyers, but also where you shop and even which apps you use can make a huge difference. And in case you didn't know, those national flyers and those weekly sales, they're also available in the Skip app in addition to those weekly exclusive deals in Skip. So there are multiple ways to save money.
Okay, how about those loyalty programs? Are there some that are better than others?
You know what, definitely, but you really need to know the differences between each one. We were talking about Skip. Well, Skip recently mentioned that eligible CIBC debit and credit card holders get a free Skip Plus membership, which has a value of more than $350 a year. That value includes things such as $0 delivery fees at participating merchants, bonus rewards points, unique vouchers, and in-app deals. And the best thing about this is you don't even need to change your spending habits. You're getting delivery, deals, and bonus reward points just by using your CIBC card with the Skip app. It's all in one place, and to take advantage of those deals, all you need to do is link your CIBC card in the Skip app under the My Skip tab.
These are all great tips, and I know there's not a person on the planet that isn't, or at least in Winnipeg, that's looking to save a few bucks these days. That goes for all of Manitoba, really. So, Barry, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all these tips with us.
No problem, anytime.
Wake up and win with CTV Your Morning and Manitoba Blue Cross. We could pay your bills with a massive $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. Today's code word is riches. Head to the contest page at ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter riches with your info for your chance to win the Your Morning $20,000 Pay Your Bills contest. Brought to you by Manitoba Blue Cross, your local trusted health benefits provider. Tune in tomorrow for another code word. Good luck. And it's going to be another hot day in the city and all over Manitoba, really, Terry.
Yeah, you know, I'm somebody that loves the heat, but even for myself, this is getting into extremes, especially because later on into the afternoon when it really heats up, there's not opportunities to kind of cool down in the overnight hours. You're going to see when I'm showing you the long range. So let's just get back to today, 17 degrees, east winds 22 clicks. Thankfully, there is a little bit of a breeze. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 51%. Yeah, in the days ahead, it's only going to get hotter and no chance of a cool down. The only chance of a cool down might come with some passing showers. The only place likely to experience that is in this very southern stretch. You can see this band of precipitation that runs mostly south of the border. So that's where the bulk of the activity is. But right along that southern border, you might get graced, I suppose would be the word, with a shower or a thunderstorm. Obviously, lightning strikes not ideal in this hot, dry weather, but any lingering precipitation or chance of precipitation would be beneficial for most because there's no sign of it otherwise throughout this entire week. And these temperatures just keep heating up. 29 today with an east wind up to 30 clicks. Plenty of sunshine, otherwise dry, and then staying clear overnight and only dropping to 15 degrees. That breeze tapers ever so slightly tomorrow. Temperatures ramp up even more. Mid-30s are expected. Still with the sunshine, still with the very dry conditions. And when I mentioned no chance of a cool down, our overnight lows are staying closer to seasonal daytime highs in those mid to high teens, with these low to mid 30 temperatures expected to last throughout the weekend and even into the start of next week.
Thank you, Terry. 2 more 7-Eleven stores have closed up shop in Winnipeg. Signs have gone up at the Notre Dame and Arlington store, as well as the Keewatin Street near Logan Avenue location, saying the stores are permanently closed as of yesterday. They add to a growing list of locations which have shut down operations in recent months. Past closures in the city have been blamed on losses brought on by crime, and last month the chain announced it expects to close hundreds of North American locations this year. Mayor Scott Gillingham previously said 7-Eleven would be opening several new locations in the city, and he says as far as he's aware, that's still the plan.
7-Eleven, if you take a look at what's happening across North America, they've closed hundreds of stores across North America. So this is not just a Winnipeg thing. There have been 7-Eleven store closures across North America, as my understanding is that they're going to a different model.
CTV News has reached out to 7-Eleven for comment. We're still waiting to hear back. There's been another arrest in connection to the W5 investigation into alleged sexual assault ring where intimate partners are secretly drugged and assaulted. Hamilton police allege Gilles Richard arranged sexual encounters with adult victims, drugged them without their knowledge, and sexually assaulted them while they were incapacitated. They say this arrest is connected to an investigation into another man, Brian Hayward. He's facing dozens of charges, accused of being involved in a network of men who secretly drug and filmed their intimate partners and shared those videos online. At least one other suspect in Switzerland was arrested last year following the W5 investigation. Nearly 3/4 of Manitobans are ready to stop changing the clocks twice a year. That's according to a new survey by Prairie Research Associates. A little more than 1/3 of those polled would prefer to stay on daylight saving time, citing the value of more daylight in the evenings for after work or school activities. 18% would rather stick to standard time, and 21% said they'd be happy with any permanent time change. Just 14% said they'd rather continue switching between the two, while slightly fewer said they had no preference. The survey of 1,060 Manitobans took place between May 21st and 25th. It cannot be assigned a margin of error as the sample is made up of panel members. However, a random survey of the same size would have a margin of error plus or minus 3 percentage points. The province is conducting its own survey right now to gauge how people feel about the future of the time change in Manitoba. You can give your thoughts by visiting engagemb.ca. Residents of a small Manitoba town are raising the alarm over rising crime rates. This after troubling statistics show crime in rural areas of the province are the second highest in all of Canada. CTV's Harrison Shin spoke with residents of Ashern about what they want done.
A small community 2 hours northwest of Winnipeg, here in Ashern, crime is on people's minds.
There's been lots of vandalism in the last month or so, for sure. Lots of businesses have been broken into.
To the level, residents created a new Facebook group just to voice concerns.
We get posts in the group saying that either their shed's been kicked in, bikes have been stolen, businesses are being robbed, people are calling the police.
On Tuesday, Statistics Canada released a study about the crime severity index. In the latest data from 2024, Manitoba has the second highest for rural areas. That index weighs crimes in terms of severity. Manitoba came in at 180, down 4 points from 2023. Saskatchewan topped the list at 219.
Not surprising, which is very sad because your community should be safe. We're a small town. Everybody kind of knows everybody. You look out for your neighbors, and that's not happening right now.
Residents like cops say they don't have enough police officers in the area. Manitoba Justice Minister Matt Weep says more needs to be done for rural communities.
We know that there's a lot of issues that are driving crime, and we want to be tough on the root causes as well. So our whole government is working towards making your community safer, and we're going to make sure that the resources are there in place to make sure you and your family are safe.
For COP, she'd like to see more officers in town.
We have businesses that are being robbed daily, small businesses, small town owners. If the police and the government aren't doing anything to protect them, our small businesses are going to close.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Ashern, Manitoba.
Here's a look at what's happening now along the St. James Bridge. It looks like things are light over in this part of the city already, and things are moving quite well. Let's look now at your gas prices. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.69, and it keeps going down. And the lowest price in the city is $1.50, found at 204 Fuels on Salter Street. All this info is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
It's time now for your answers to our question of the day. We want to know, how do you cool down on hot days like these? Susan texted, put on the air conditioner. Amber says, best way to cool down on a hot day is by going for a swim. Stay hydrated, shared Marlene. She loves the heat, but an air-conditioned place helps to cool things off if it's too hot. On hot days, Uncti eats freezy after freezy to keep cool. I like that idea. Teresa says, I cool down in our beautiful backyard pool. Lucky you, the cool water. And inside reading when it's just too hot. And Phoebe and Felicity shared, we really love swimming and playing with our friends in our pool and going to the cottage with our family. Thank you so much for your responses.
Question of the day, brought to you by Provivo, Manitoba's #1 cool sculpting clinic. Science-backed body contouring.
For every household name in the art world, there are thousands of skilled artists which go relatively undiscovered for years. But the paintings and sketches still hold value to those who knew the makers best. CTV's Daniel Homerson has more on one Manitoba artist more than 50 years after he put pen to paper.
He liked to do pen and ink. He did a little bit of oils, but not a whole lot.
Dave Rundle owns just a few of his brother Don Lafort's sketches, like this one of an unknown child from 1973.
Very seldom would he paint a happy face. I've got a happy face here in one of his drawings that I could find.
Rundle says his half-brother was born in 1941 near Powerview Pine Falls, was sent to Fort Alexander Residential School in his youth, and eventually ended up in Winnipeg.
He went to school at Gordon Bell High School. He played football there. One time he got his name in the papers, and that made him a hero, you know, to us.
Some of Lafort's highly detailed sketches from the 1970s pop up online, but there's little information about Lafort or his work readily available.
He was sitting there, and all you could hear was scratch, 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 scratch. Very fast scratching going on, you know. And that was on a piece of paper with his charcoal pencil.
John Mulliel met Lafort while working in downtown Winnipeg in the 70s. He says Lafort's work captured the challenges Indigenous people were facing at the time.
He portrayed that through his works, you know. I think that's what he wanted to show the world.
In 1975, Lafort gifted him one of his sketches. That was the last time Mulliel saw the artist.
He had this rolled up paper in his hand. It looked more like a newspaper rolled up. We unrolled this thing. And my wife said, "Oh my God, this is beautiful."
Mulliel's daughter recently tracked down Lafort's family and returned the 50-year-old sketch to them. And while Lafort died in 2000 at the age of 58, Dave Rundle says the rekindled interest in his brother's work is a nice reminder of the man and the artist.
I will always remember him. He will never fade.
Daniel Homerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Let's go now to Terry on the rooftop. It's going to be one of the milder days today than the rest of the week.
That's right, and that's because the extremes are about to hit in a very big way. And using mild to describe today is somewhat ridiculous in and of itself, because the temperatures for today alone will be well above seasonal, but then they're only going to continue to skyrocket throughout the rest of this week. We're at 17 degrees right now with a 22K wind out of the east. The pressure is rising, the humidity sitting at 51%. Blue sky and sunshine. Honestly, it looks good out here. If you do enjoy the sunshine, get out this morning before it gets too hot. This afternoon, it'll be siesta time as you're looking to escape that heat. But where do we escape the heat over the next few days when the temperatures only continue to rise? So today, 29 degrees is where we're likely to top out here in Winnipeg. Northern Manitoba, you're going to be ending up in the mid-20s as well. And then for tomorrow and through the rest of the week and into the weekend, mid-30 temperatures are expected. 22 degrees is a normal daytime high. We're going to be more than 10 degrees above seasonal for tomorrow and throughout the weekend, with our overnight lows only dropping into the high teens. So really, when I say there will be no escape from the heat, I'm meaning that in the biggest way. No signs of precipitation, hot, sunny, dry conditions expected, not just through the weekend. It looks like they're actually going to be sticking around into the start of next week. We're taking a break, but we want you to stick around. We'll be back in just a moment with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
Here's a look at your gas prices again. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.69, and there are the three lowest prices in the city right there, as you can see. All this info is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
Iron deficiency affects more than 10% of the population in Canada. And while iron supplements have typically been hard to take, as Pauline Chan tells us, newer treatments are now available.
Francine Joseph says she was always tired and cold.
Anyone who knows me knows that I have a scarf around me in the office or even walking, even in summertime. So that was one of the symptoms as well.
But then after the birth of her daughter and 2 separate car accidents, her symptoms intensified in 2017.
I was getting constant migraines, feeling super dehydrated, super weak. So my doctor, she ordered me more tests. And then at that point, we realized it's actually iron deficient.
Iron deficiency is one of the most common causes of anemia, and certainly as a primary care physician is something I deal with multiple times a day. Females who menstruate are typically, struggling with anemia.
In fact, 40% of menstruating women suffer from low iron, and it's not just women.
Crohn's and colitis, dietary changes, there's a whole slew of other medical conditions that can cause your iron to be low.
Dr. Christine Palme says low iron can cause fatigue, memory, and concentration problems.
Long-term consequences are cardiovascular complications. You can develop skin changes, nail changes, hair loss, things like that. So much more common than one would think, and certainly something that as primary care we often miss.
Adding iron-rich foods to your diet is a first step.
Step 2 is pharmacological treatment, and there's many things that are available over the counter, and in some cases they work, but they also come with side effects. Many patients can't tolerate the gastrointestinal side effects related to the medications.
But Francine is on a new medication. Acrufer is the only oral iron therapy prescription approved in Canada. She takes that twice a day, and 4 times a year she goes in for iron transfusions. Dr. Palme calls Acrufer a game changer for patients who had severe side effects before.
Point being, patients have a wide variety of options, and just because one fails, go back, try another one.
And for Francine, it's allowing her to enjoy life like never before. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
A friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is catching attention in Fredericton. CTV's Laura Brown on the hero we didn't know we needed.
His spidey senses told him the world could use a pick-me-up. So he put on the mask.
I just wanted to come out, hopefully inspire people, do a good deed, make people laugh, and just kind of spread joy in whatever way I can.
The idea to become Fredericton's friendly neighborhood superhero started by untangling some bad guy behavior.
I drove down here the other day and noticed right along this whole strip there's a lot of garbage piled up.
So for about a month now, a couple hours a week, morning or night, whenever he can escape his real life, Spider-Man appears.
And do your family and friends know who you are and do they know you're doing this?
And nobody knows. No, I'm very sneaky.
Just as Peter Parker intended.
Definitely noticed the Green Goblin lurking around. So.
Frederictonians are taking notice and leaning into the Marvel.
Spider-Man is cool, but I'm more of a Batman guy. But no. It just causes people to be more social and to talk to people, right? I think that's just the valuable thing in community, is just getting more people to talk to each other.
I've seen him on TikTok. I said, if I go to Fredericton, maybe I'll get lucky and see him. Well, I did.
He claims he's not looking for fame or fortune, but something that means a lot to this Spider-Man is showing children they can do good simply because it's the right thing to do.
The saying with Spider-Man is everyone can wear the mask. Doesn't have to be someone special. It can be boy or girl, any gender, any person, anywhere in the world can help out in their own way.
A reminder that with great power comes great responsibility. Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
A heat wave in the prairies is sparking concern for wildfires, with temperatures expected to climb into the low to mid-30s. Environment Canada has issued heat warnings for eastern parts of Alberta and into Saskatchewan. Here's CTV's Allison Bamford.
The first heat wave of the season is blowing through the prairies.
It seemed like we jumped right into summer with this heat.
10 days after snow fell in parts of Saskatchewan and temperatures hovered around freezing, now the heat has taken over.
It is quite anomalously warm.
Warmth that extends from southeastern Alberta into most of southern Saskatchewan. Environment Canada issued a yellow heat warning for the areas, expected to last for the rest of the week, with daytime highs soaring above 30.
Hot, dry, and windy conditions are conducive for the ignition and spread of wildfires.
Recent moisture has slowed the start of the wildfire season. Still, most of Alberta and Saskatchewan are under high to extreme wildfire risk. Here in Hanley, Saskatchewan, the grass is still green, a good sign for the local fire department that current conditions could stave off grass fires. They've only responded to one this year, but the fire chief is monitoring conditions closely.
You know, when you get temperatures in excess of 30 degrees, and then you add these, 50, 60 kilometer-hour winds, it dries things out really fast.
Environment Canada says the weather warning could expand into Manitoba as the heat tracks east. Meteorologists are reminding everyone to take breaks from the sun and drink plenty of water to help avoid heat exhaustion. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
And it's exactly what we're dealing with here. That heat, we're going to need to stay hydrated. And of course, the wind is also a factor, drying things up.
Yeah, it really is. And so find those moments when you can to maybe seek a little refuge from the heat, whether it's coming back into your own air-conditioned space, or if you don't have air conditioning, there's places to go. Bo said this morning he went to the grocery store, and I've been there before, right? You go in and you leave your sweater in the car and you get in there, especially in the dairy section. That's where to hang out. Listen, I'm not telling you to go and hang out in the grocery store. I'm just saying, if you need to cool down, find a freezer. 17 degrees, the sun is shining, the winds, they're out of the east right now, 22 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity at 51%. City was saying it was opening up the splash pads. These are all great spaces to, get a little bit of a break from the heat, but make sure that you're staying hydrated too, because that is absolutely key when we're dealing with the temperatures that we're going to be seeing. Right now, the only sign of precipitation is the band right through the very southwestern corner. Otherwise, clear, sunny, dry conditions. And yes, it's going to be a warm one. Churchill, the fog was burned off for you. You're starting to see, or will be seeing, things warming up. Yes, you're still below the freezing mark for now, but 9 is where you're headed today. Otherwise, high teens, low 20s. These are above seasonal temperatures that we're expecting all across southern Manitoba. Up into the high 20s, low 30s. And like I've been saying, as warm as it's going to be today, it gets even warmer throughout the rest of the week. Is a bit of a broken record, but brace yourself for the heat. Low 30s expected right on into the coming weekend. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Oh, before we say goodbye, we're going to show you some fun video. We kick things off with a bear looking for a hot tub in Kelowna.
Get out of here, you guys. You guys get ready to get back.
It looks like the bear briefly tested a tub out before being shooed away. Oh. Staff say the shop's doors are left open in the summer, and the bear must have taken that as an invitation. Mounties say the bear was last seen in an orchard out of harm's way and not posing any danger to the public. Just wanted
Come on, it's a hot tub. I'd try it out too.
Now to a couple of friends competing for a snack. Oh. Watch them waddle to the bowl of peas. Monica always beats Phoebe to the food, but is always happy to share once her best friend gets there.
Peas, who knew?
Yeah, they love it. And finally, a new online trend for partygoers.
Cool, is it a pool party? I'm here for the pajama party.
It's the dress for the wrong occasion party. These guests came as 4th of July partiers, Oktoberfesters, and even a bride going to her own wedding. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.